Mhm. What the? Right. Uh-oh. Oh no. Go ahead.
Yeah, the link is, I think I put the wrong thing. The link
But
is.
I just posted it, so in the Facebook group, can you grab that one? And then I'm gonna send these guys one right now. If I can find them, should I find my?
The Facebook group is wrong.
The one I just posted it like 10 seconds ago. Is that one's wrong?
Yeah, the one that's in the Facebook group is wrong.
One I just posted.
No.
Okay.
one
The
that's in
old
Facebook
one.
group.
Okay.
So I think it's there.
Oh, let me go. Can you go over to, because if I get out of this one, I'll close this one out. You go over to the other one and tell everybody there's a new posting. I just posted it to everybody. 10 seconds ago.
$20 million freaking now, everyone. Yeah. I don't see it there, Shane. Reload. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, yes. All right, I see it now. Okay. Shane, you there?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I see it. All right.
Savannah, how you doing? Jesse, how you doing?
Good. Am I muted? I think I'm muted. Not muted.
You're good now. It's been a long day. I look a little rough.
I am not putting my video on. It's been a long day, but it's dark and I'm driving, so.
Oh, be careful. Focus on driving.
Yep.
All right, we had a little snafu here with the link. People are coming over now. Let me make sure I'm recording.
I made it. How you doing, Shane?
Good. How you doing, Chris? Looks like you had a lot of
Good.
bad weather that way too.
Horrible weather. It's not.
You know what's funny? When Chris sent that picture, I was looking at it and I was like, "What?" Go back and look at it after I say this, Shane. But he sent that picture. I'm like, why is Chris sending us a picture of his car while he's going through the car wash? That's literally what I thought it did. And then it never picked up on me that it was ice or anything. And I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I first look at it.
Alaska
I thought it was
problem.
a
It was-
star, Jesse.
It was 77 degrees here today, and it's still 70 degrees.
oh, gross. Savannah.
Rub it in. Rub it in, right?
Shane was Jesse. You and Chris, you guys aren't missing out on anything.
It's amazing.
Crappy weather
amazing.
here. It's
Yeah, it's bad when they start putting names on these weather storms. Just throwing it out there. That's when things really start to connect.
You know you're in trouble when
Absolutely.
Ice
Absolutely.
Storm Jesse's coming to town. Watch out.
Oh, yeah.
cold as ice.
No, we got 7 inches of snow here last night. And of course, just after
Really?
lunch today, I walked outside, it was starting to drizzle. So
Mm.
great night.
There you go.
Got a little ice on everything and snow. Perfect.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, especially that combination.
I kind of think I would be a Hurricane Savannah. If you had to name the storm, it'd be a hurricane.
Hurricane Savannah.
Hurricane Savannah. Sounds about
That
right.
sounds like that would knock a lot of stuff over. That'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, Savannah ice storm doesn't really work. Winter squall Savannah, that doesn't work. It's got to be a hurricane.
Let me guess, Cindy's on a golf course right now.
She had another link out there, so I think that's where everybody's
No,
at.
I'm here. I'm trying to, whatever. People,
that was-
Round
I'm trying
everybody
to
up
fix
and-
it. I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix
And that was the one I jumped on first because I didn't see this one. So I was like, well, it's 7 o'clock. I guess it's linked.
Let me try to help.
Well,
us.
I appreciate you guys being flexible.
Let's see.
We had Colleen scheduled for 7, Colleen Wick, and she was going to talk about comping, and she had a schedule conflict come up. So we actually had her on at 4, and it was a great Zoom. And she's just a really good skilled comper. And I know like every time Cindy takes a deal, Colleen talks about it, she's like scared because she knows that whatever numbers we provided, Colleen's going to come back and go, no. Oh, it's always good
Let me see if I can do this.
to know the numbers.
Perfect.
New in your world, Chris.
Where do I start? Yeah, Jesse and I would literally just the last hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, we was literally working on this property over in Utah, trying to help her situation, her initial auction that we thought was next Tuesday. So we was working on that specifically. It looked like something that Jesse and I are gonna buy and
Excellent.
help this seller out and move forward with that. So sellers have a peace of mind now that we have a lot more information in we didn't initially had, but she's extremely happy now.
Is that a pre-foreclosure?
Yep. Yeah, foreclosure. It was an HOA one. It was very different. HOA.
All right.
Very
So
different.
it wasn't a bank foreclosure or taxes, it was a HOA.
Yeah, HOA, they're behind on HOA dues. And from my understanding,
Huh.
Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, is it they haven't made a single payment since they moved in?
Yeah, it's kind of a sad story. It's kind of a longer story, but yeah, there was
Right.
just a lot of mix up between them and the HOA. They wanted to make the payments but couldn't make the payments, and yeah, they're behind $5,100 is all. Like they're losing their house because of $5,100.
That's
And-
crazy.
Wow.
They don't have any equity in the property, so they tried listing it with a realtor, and obviously they need to list it high enough in order for the closing costs and commissions to get factored in so the agent can get paid, and then they can pay off those arrears with the HOA and then just walk away. But yeah, unfortunately,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a sad thing, but I jumped on them. I usually don't do this, and it was kind of neat. I'm going to try to do it more often now. But I hopped on a Zoom with the seller, well, with him and his wife, and we just had a great conversation. You know, when you're talking about creative finance and things like that, you know, a lot of times, and I'll be the first to say, and maybe you guys have had a similar experience, but when I first heard that you could buy a house for less than the price of a cup of coffee, I was like, okay, this is obviously a scam. This isn't
Right.
something that's real. This can't happen. And so when you're talking to sellers, I mean, it's pretty understandingly why they would, you know, maybe kind of think the same thing. And so we hopped on a Zoom and they got to see, you know, a name to the face, and we just had a great conversation, built rapport, built some credibility with them, and you know, let them know how we could help them. And so Chris and I, yeah, like Chris said, we've been spending the last couple hours trying to figure this out, talking with the law office that's handling the entire process. So we're going to be able to get in here for $2,500. We don't even have to catch up the entire HOA. As
Wow.
little as it is, it's only 5,100, but we can put 2,100 down, and then $5,000 to the sellers. So we're all in $7,500 plus closing costs. So we'll end up buying this property for less than $10,000.
Wow.
That's
So
crazy.
it's
Where
neat
is
because we'll be
it?
able to save them from a foreclosure
Utah.
on their record, and their credit quite isn't where it needs to be yet to go purchase another property anyway. So they're going to move out, and they've got a couple places lined up to go ahead and rent, and they'll probably rent for another year and a half or so, I think, until they try to revisit that and try to purchase another property. But that's super neat because they don't have to wait the better part of a decade, you know, to revisit exploring the possibility of buying another property. So it just goes to show like how instrumental, you know, learning these strategies are, because I'm not a licensed professional. I'm a nobody, but I was able to come in and solve a problem that no other licensed professional could.
Crazy.
Realtors or other cash investors, you know, obviously it doesn't make sense for them to, on a property with no equity, to come in and take a 70 cents on the dollar offer, you know? So, super neat. It's really humbling. Actually, I think what Chris and I are going to do is try to document this and use it kind of like as a video testimonial on their experience working with us and what their thought is from the perspective of the seller on what creative finance is and how helpful it is, and just kind of use that as we, you know, continue talking to more sellers. And then we've got those testimonials from other people as well. So super neat. Yeah, this was a really neat one.
I want to jump
Absolutely.
and talk to y'all about what your exit strategy is, but I think we're at a good enough time. I know a lot of people know who you are, but why don't you just talk real quick about, introduce yourselves one more time for everybody, in case some new people here, what it is that you do.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So my name is Jesse Stanton. For those of you guys who don't know me, we've been just absolutely blessed and fortunate enough to be on a couple of these with Cindy and Shane. So we're very grateful of the opportunity to be here again. So thank you guys very much for having us.
We're grateful.
I live in a small igloo in Wasilla, Alaska, with a wife, 4 kids, and 2 Yorkies. And Chris is in New York. So we've got an entire country between us. And it's really interesting. We're starting to ramp up the marketing and stuff that we do in Alaska as well. And so I feel like these guys are really, really behind the times. And maybe we'll get into that a little bit later today. But yeah, so Chris and I, like I said, we got an entire country between us. We work all 50 states. We wholesale, we buy and hold, we fix and flip, all creative financing. So we even wholesale creative finance deals, which is super dope. So anyway, that's kind of me and maybe what we do in a nutshell, but I'll let Chris kind of fill in the gaps on anything I missed.
Yeah, no. As he already stated, I'm in New York. My name is Chris James, upstate New York, to be very specific, or as Wendy would say, Western New York. But more so, yeah, I don't live directly in the city. So people always think when they hear New York, do you live in like the Bronx, the Queens, and all that good stuff? No, I actually live about 6 hours away from there. So
You're a country bumpkin. Got it.
So, but more so, as Jesse stated, we do a lot of various things, such as fix and flips. You name it, we've done it. We've been business partners for actually going on almost a year now, and we actually almost got like a real estate in a box company. So we do it all. We even we actually just officially launched our transaction coordinating business, which is doing very well. We actually going into a lot of neat markets and meeting with a lot of different realtors, having a lot of conversations with them as in-house TCs and all that great stuff.
What is it, real quick, Chris? For anybody who doesn't know, what is a transaction coordinator? What the crap does a TC do?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's essentially a transaction coordinator. They help facilitate the process and oversee all the documents, ensure that the verbiage, the communication, the legalese within the documents are correct. Each state varies, and also not just each state, also each county. So that can also play a huge factor depending on what kind of deal you have in place. I'm actually seeing that somebody wants to talk about an FHA. FHA can actually dictate a lot of different things within that county, unfortunately, depending on specifically what kind of lender and all that good stuff. But more so, a transaction coordinator, we're here to literally guide you and take a lot of the pressure off you, I should say. When it comes to that, we're almost like the backbone and the glue to the transaction, ensuring that all the paperwork is correct. Documentations from the lending side of things, checking and overseeing the settlement statements, HUD statements, ensuring that everyone get paid correctly, ensuring like longevity documents. The transaction doesn't really stop at the closing. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens after the specific close, which that's where the bulk of the work actually starts to happen. So there's a lot of different things. And when it comes to transaction coordinator, and more so, if I would change a lot of different things I did in the past, I would have hired a transaction coordinator right then and there.
So a transaction coordinator really helps make sure that the whole process goes smooth.
Absolutely.
Get dotted, all T's crossed.
Absolutely. As Jesse already, he stated it, he mentioned, we definitely, he's not exaggerating. We work in all 50 states. It's pretty neat to actually do that. And again, New York, Alaska, he doesn't live in an igloo, but I feel like he does live in an igloo with the whole
Feels like it sometimes.
Entire football
Got an
team,
army
yes.
over here, yeah.
But more has that been rehab, Jesse?
Beg your pardon?
Is that a fix and flip?
Rehab.
Yeah, 100%. Luckily, we're in the good time of the year. You got plenty of resources for fixing the migloos.
Hilarious.
Did you ever sub to your igloo?
Yes.
What's that?
Did you sub to your igloo?
You sub to the igloos?
We did, yeah. Fortunately, I've got a TC who can communicate that with the some of the silly gooses, some of the knuckleheads up here. But like Chris said, we do anything and everything that you would ever need to facilitate any sort of a transaction, be that wholesale, creative, what have you, whether you need money. We're lenders. We lend in, was it 47 states? I think 47 states.
46, yep.
So yeah, like Chris said, I think Chris best summed it up. We're kind of like just real estate in a box.
Absolutely. So it's pretty neat. Within the sub 2 community, and not just that specific community, myself and Jesse, we come from different communities as well. We joined other mentorships. We took bits and pieces from every mentorship, whether we had received a lot of value or not, whatever that may look like. But obviously we all know Pace Morby and how much value he actually provides and what that looks like. So that's pretty neat that we all can come together as a community and work together, and whatever that may look like. as I said, I'm not for sure if he's on the last call, but literally JVing is amazing. Only literally one deal in my life I did by myself and I struggled. I did literally, I lost count, but we have closed in successfully over 18 states now, and then multiple deals within those specific states. And every single deal was done with a JV partner. Every
Awesome.
single one. Now, if I was still trying to do it by myself, I'll be struggling. I probably won't be in the Zoom right now to transparently. But more so JVing definitely helps further you what your initial goal is. And a lot of people don't fail to realize that. And I wish I would have knew that a lot sooner. So if you
That
have
prompted,
goal, go ahead. I'm sorry about
It
that.
prompted me this week to just kind of reach out to the group here and just say, whoever's kind of stuck and haven't reached that first deal yet, raise your hand. You know, we're here as a community. Let's get you through that first hurdle.
Absolutely.
So usually the easiest way to do it, because people just kind of get stuck, don't know what to do. And then the opportunity passes, right? Sometimes these windows are very short. And if you don't know how to get the ball into the end zone, the opportunity is lost. And then you feel defeated and don't suffer alone. You know,
Absolutely.
Lean on our community. Chris and Jesse are out there. Their information's out in the Facebook group. Holler at them. There's people here to help. So
100%. 100%.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Shane. Yeah, guys, let me, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but let me just take a second real quick and just hammer down on what Shane said, because Chris and I have seen the power of JVing. I mean, within the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks of this year alone, we got over $250,000 just in escrow.
Yeah.
With everything that we're working on. And there isn't any money that we've made that was by ourselves.
Yep.
Everything has been with Shane, but it's been because exactly what Shane is talking about right now. It's been intention. So when you guys are coming in here, the way that I think about it, like when I go into a Zoom meeting, or if I'm watching like somebody on Facebook Live or something like that, like the way that I comprehend in my head, the way that I think about it is I treat that Zoom meeting as if I was walking into a room with other investors. And there's this big round table and everybody kind of gets their turn to say something or put something metaphorically speaking in the chat, right? So when it's your turn to speak, or if you have something to say, don't be the one to come in here and just more or less consume content. Get in here and be intentional, and let's see what we can do to all work together, all make money, or just be resources for each other and whatever that looks like. So get in here, like Shane said, and just be intentional. If there's something you guys need, if there's a bottleneck in your business, if you guys are struggling somewhere, there's a big principle that Chris and I have built our entire business on. And it's actually a book. It's a book called Who Not How. If you guys haven't read it, I implore you, definitely get it. It is such an amazing book. And like I was saying, Chris and I built our entire business off of just that book. And the entire premise is basically, I'll keep it short, but a lot of people are struggling to get their first deal because they're in the mindset that they have to be the one to do everything. Maybe some of you guys let me see in the chat. Can anybody resonate with that? Is anybody feeling like they're just overwhelmed with all the amount of work and everything that needs to go into this? I mean, someone's got to have to be the one to learn how to use the systems, whether that's batch leads or PropStream or Privy. You've got to learn how to filter it. You've got to learn how to skip trace the list. You got to learn how to put that list into an organized fashion and start hitting it. You got to learn how to track KPIs. You got to learn how to automate. You got to learn how to streamline. You got to learn how to call and negotiate what scripts work, what's not working. Should I be using a script? Should I not be using a script? Once I find somebody who's interested, how do I qualify them? How do I pitch creative finance? How do I find a buyer? How do I communicate with the title company? There's so much involved
Absolutely.
in just one stinking deal. And if that's you guys, if any of you guys see a lot of yeses in here, if any of you guys are feeling overwhelmed with all of that, stop. That's what this Zoom right here is for. That's what Shane and Cindy's community is for. So get in here and leverage those people, leverage get in there and be intentional with having those conversations. Let's see what we can all do to help out each other, because you don't have to be the one to know it from A to Z. You don't have to understand the entire thing before you take that first step. So, sorry, Shane, I didn't mean to, I just wanted to hammer out on that, man. I love what you said, dude. And I just resonate with it. And it's something that's been, so profound in mine and Chris's life and in our business. And, it's brought us just some amazing relationships from just getting into even Zooms and just being intentional with what I want out of that Zoom or who I want to connect with. So thank you for touching on that.
So
Yeah, no.
how did you guys meet?
I really need to come up with a better story for that. I really kind of started out with like a tongue in cheek, like, oh, it's that age old, that old romantic story of how business partners meet, the Chili's parking lot. It's a Thursday
funny.
afternoon. No, I'm just kidding. We met at Pace's house. We were eating some tacos. There was like 200 or 300 people over at Pace's house, kind of having this big get together. And Chris and I just started talking business, while everybody else was enjoying the pool and sipping down margaritas. Chris and I were like just straight to business. Like it was funny. It was like, hey, I'm Jesse, I'm Chris. What do you got going on in your business, man? And then Chris was like, oh, I'm doing this, and this. I got this person doing this. I'm like, oh, dude, that's sick. So that's kind of what sparked that's how our initial conversation went. And that next day, we were there attending Pace's mastermind. So in that mastermind, Pace was talking about a board of advisors. And what happened was, I'll share the story real quick. It's kind of a neat story. It's really helped my mindset, especially last year, and what I do and how I process information, all that kind of stuff. So I'll share it with you real quick. But he got a call from Brent Daniels. If you guys don't know who Brent Daniels is, it's a really big wholesaler down in Phoenix. One of Pace's really good friends. They do podcasts and they hang out and do all the fun things. But he got a phone call from his buddy Brent. And Brent was like, Pace, I need you to get down to the office right now. And Pace, shit, man. Okay, cool. So he books down there. And when he walks in there, there's like 10, 12 people in the office. And Brent tells everybody, he says, hey, I need to see exactly what your business is making right now. I need to know what's in your bank account right now. That's a pretty tall order. I see Jillian's face like, that's a pretty tall freaking order. And as a matter of fact, like some people walked out when he said that, but everybody else who stayed, they had that conversation. And Brent told everybody, he said, hey, I want all of you to be making 25% more in your business by this time next year, or you are out of the group. You're out of the group text. That doesn't mean we're not friends, and it doesn't mean we're not going to go to dinner, but you're not in the group anymore. You're not in that circle. So talk about motivation, talk about accountability. If not for yourself, man, it's just so important. It hammers down to what we're talking about, just being intentional with the people that you're aligning with and the conversations that you want to have in any faucet, whatever opportunity that presents itself, let alone a really cool Zoom meeting. So in sharing that, we got to talking about creating a board of advisors, a very high level, high caliber way of accountability. And so right after, and this happened within the first hour, the first day, Chris?
Yeah, literally within the first, actually, yeah, because Jamil actually talked about a couple things as well. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So Chris and I had only known each other for 12 hours at that point. And I knew literally right after he said that, we went on a little break and everybody went out in the hall. And I went and approached Chris and I was like, dude, hey, I need you in my board of advisors. So that's how that started. And then over the course of maybe 6 to 8 weeks, Chris, maybe somewhere in there, as we were having our accountability meetings, we were, learning more about each other and where our mindset was and what we were trying to accomplish. And we thought, hey, you know what? It might be kind of cool to do something together. Let's kind of explore that and see what that would look like. So anyway, that's kind of a long-winded answer. Sorry, guys. If you guys don't know me, if you guys don't follow me, you're gonna figure out that I really know how to make a long story long.
Yeah.
So,
But no, as Jesse
get
just
all
said
the
it more
details.
so, he's 100% right. The board of advisors, that was very key. Along, they definitely had some other things they definitely stated and all that good stuff, but more so, that's, as Jesse just stated, that's a tall order. What's in your bank account? Let me see it. What does that look like? What is your progression? Like, what exactly are you doing to get to the next steps. That's a really a tall. That's like literally what did Pace say exactly? He says asking a man just pull your pants out, pull your pants out, see what you're working with. That's exactly what Pace said. And you know, that's an uncomfortable position to be in. But he did state also that, you know, initially that 8 to 12 people went down to like literally 4 to 5. And that's literally how their, I guess, board of advisors actually developed. And that's why, you know, Jamil, Pace, Brent, and 2 other individuals are extremely close. They push each other.
Yeah.
I want somebody in my corner to say, hey, Chris, what's going on? How come you didn't make this much this month? You need that. You need those individuals. You got to have those uncomfortable conversations, because if you don't, you're too comfortable. You're in the wrong partnership. I will actually expect nothing less. If Jesse ever called me one day and I told him specifically, oh, I didn't do well this month, and he says, okay, I need to make sure if he's okay. Like, did you hear what I just stated or what that may look like? I need him to call me out on things like, hey, how come you didn't make $60,000 a month? How come you didn't make $30,000? Whatever that budget is specifically, you need those kind of accountability partners around you to have those conversations, because it's only going to make you better. And as I stated before, I state this a lot, and I stand behind this, is that I put myself along my business partners in uncomfortable positions on a daily basis. I can't be comfortable. It may seem crazy, but I really can't. If that was the case, I'll just go get a W-2 job. I'll go back to the hospitality restaurant industry that I was in. Did I love it? 100%. But I was too comfortable.
Mhm.
Too comfortable. But sorry, Shannon, I mean,
No,
cut you off right there.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And again, kind of back to the same point, right? Those people that are struggling always seem to struggle alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, find somebody in the side chat or in the Facebook group or somewhere that'll help you, push you, hold you accountable. How many calls did you make today? You know, how many properties did you look at? How many realtors did you reach out to? And otherwise, people just kind of tend to back off, and it's not time to do that. It's time to step up.
Absolutely. I see Julian. Is it Jillian or Julian? I'm very good at butchering names. Just throwing that
Oh
out
no,
there.
it's good. It's Jillian. No, it's
Okay.
all good.
Okay.
Patiently having her hand up.
No, I mean, and this is so dumb. Sorry, I shouldn't have raised my hand for this long, but I was just curious if anyone got kicked out of the text group.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Because it's actually myself, Jesse Stanton, and Colin Gibney. He's our 3rd business partner. He's a great underwriter. He's a phenomenal individual. I'm not for sure if you know. I think you probably met him. I'm not for sure. You know, he pops up from here and there, but so far Jesse hasn't kicked me out, so I'm okay.
Yeah, we've got a couple other people in there. Yeah,
Right.
no, everybody's still in the group text as of right now.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah, it's
cool.
been great.
You guys just
Yeah,
keep
fantastic
calling in a little
question.
dark room and just keep feeding them properties to comp. Is that how it works?
There you go.
That's it, man. He's like a groundhog, man. You know, we might see him and we're like, hey, we got 6 more weeks of winter and 6 more weeks of Colin.
Absolutely. So I did see a comment. I want if Katie or Kathy, or is it Katie? My screen's far away. Katie, are you here?
Potentially, I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's spelled the same way Katy Perry spells her name,
There you go.
but it's
Katie.
it's a P. So I'm just going on a limb here. I'm going to assume it might be.
Katie, are you here?
It's Katie.
It's Katy Perry.
No,
No, it's not Katy Perry. If I was Katy Perry, I'd probably have my screen on, but I'm actually making dinner. So
No worries. I see you had a question in the beginning. Do you want to? I just need a little bit more clarity on exactly what that looks like.
sure. So this is a young man who
Mhm.
bought a house. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to be talking about this really. So I don't have my papers, but he he bought a house a year ago, and he thought he was going to be making the payments. He is married. He's got hit with a divorce. He got hit with his car breaking down in the Ohio Turnpike. He's you know, a lot of things. Lost a job. He's got another one, but it's his good one. But so now he's got no equity to speak of, really. It's an FHA loan. So I've heard that, doing a sub 2 on an FHA is a little bit different. And because I'm thinking that sub 2 is really the only way to go with him. I'm not sure what else to do. I'm very new at this. I'm green.
No
So
worries.
I'm trying to start thinking creative financing kind of thing, but that's not where my brain is most of the time. So I just wanted to know how to approach this. If you want to start talking, I could actually start looking up some numbers for you, but
No worries. So just out of curiosity, what state?
Pennsylvania.
I'm your buyer.
Hey, that's
yeah.
cool, because that's what I'm looking for.
Perfect. Yeah, Jesse and I could definitely buy. I just actually closed on the triplex 2 weeks ago over in Pennsylvania. I'm closing March 2nd next week on another single family in Pennsylvania. In May 15th. I think that's a Tuesday or Wednesday, 14th or 15th. Not May. Why did I say May? March 14th or 15th. 14th, I will closing on another one. So I'm super excited, and they're all creative.
Western PA? Western
Yeah.
Pennsylvania?
I wanna
Western
say
and
yes.
Eastern are so different. They're so
Yep.
different.
Is it Pittsburgh? Is it Pittsburgh?
Yep. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is
That's Western.
Western. Yeah.
That's Western.
This is perfect example. Jesse and I buy national. We don't know if it's Eastern, Western.
Don't even know, dude. I don't even know what
They're
the address
Holy
is.
moly!
They're very different economies. Very, very, very different people.
No,
Okay,
that's good to know. That's very good to know. So the 2 other properties that I have, they're literally over in Pittsburgh. So
Yeah,
if
that's
if
where I'm
Western, then that's where
And,
we can
and
talk.
Katie, you and I should connect, by the way, since we both know that area. You and I should connect.
okay. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, your initial question about the FHA.
Yeah.
100%. When doing a subject 2, it's definitely very different, but there's some similarities depending on the state. Now, also, now that I know it's in Pennsylvania, do you know what who the lender is?
Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it up.
Because
So-
the lender plays a huge part. If it's a
Does
big
it?
time lender like a Wells Fargo, a Citizens, ESL, Chase, those kind of banks, it's great. But
Yeah.
if you get a small local lender, it's like a federal credit union when they only got like 2 or 3 branches in the specific state,
Right.
those could be challenging, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of different underwriting parts that we have to go through. More so, there's got to be different verbiages, is also what the specific county has to match.
Right, right.
So a lot of different times we go through a title company at the same time. Sometimes even as TCs are in a TC company, that we have our team ensure that they may potentially reach out to another underwriter that's within the actual title company, and also reach out to attorney to ensure that everything's fine. Because if you don't, you will potentially have to do on sell clause. FHAs, a lot of people say stay away from them. I technically own the property with a FHA, but I have my own TC company, so it's a little bit different. I can make sure everything is good, but more so, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Just as long as you have the right documents in place and ensuring that there's layers of protection, the layers of instruments as well.
Right.
Just another terminology, but layer instruments with the property, you're totally fine.
Okay.
But there's definitely workarounds and all that good stuff. May I ask specifically how much they owe?
All right. So I was trying to follow you and open a file.
You're good. You're good.
So let me should have had this open. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to tell you this is with New Res. Are you familiar with them?
Yes, that we actually currently going through. We just stopped the foreclosure over at Bert's property, Jesse. That was New Res.
Okay.
That's over in Alaska, actually.
And what was the other question you asked me?
How much?
Yes.
Well, the
Thanks, Shane.
outstanding, what do you need? The outstanding principal?
I need. Technically, we should have all the numbers. We should have like we.
Oh, you want to really do this all out? Okay, I feel kind of
Well,
like,
Again, this is Cindy and Shane's Zoom, so I don't want to. If you don't want to do that, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
We can just. I don't want to
Well,
step on it.
We can connect
it's not my
offline,
show.
too.
It's not my show. So
Yeah, this is Cindy and Shane's.
Are you sure?
It's all you, man.
No, please, if you want to share, want to talk about this, we're here for you. So
Okay, I don't want to, okay.
that way
well,
we
here you
all
go.
can learn together.
So are you, Katie, real quick, are you just trying to determine if this is a cash deal or a creative deal? Is that kind of where we are right now with the
Yes.
seller? You're just trying to
Yes.
know which way to pivot? Okay, cool.
Creative all day.
Yeah. I'm not a realtor. I'm actually in wholesaling, and this was something that, a lead that somebody gave me, and the guy just wants to move on. He wants to start all over. All he wants is $5,300 so he can fix his truck or his car
Okay.
or whatever that is.
So
Um,
if we, on a hypothetical, if we give him $5,300,
Right.
what's the next step for him?
So-
Is he living in the property or is it a vacant property?
He's not. He's living with his mom.
Okay.
This is Pittsburgh area. So the outstanding principal, and I haven't sat down and just really, I'm not used to looking at forms like this. The outstanding principal is 67,000
Okay.
and change.
Let's see. Okay.
What other, let's see.
What's the PITI, the monthly payment?
Is, let's see, it's 600 and, wait, where are we? Where is it? It's, sorry, $631. And he's
600
behind 3 months. And with some fees and charges, he owes $1,919.88.
So let's say 2,000 for rough
Okay.
numbers.
All right.
So in the rears, he's about 2,000.
Yep.
You said PITI is 631.
631.22.
Okay. What are the rents in the area?
Pardon?
What are the rents in the area?
Gee, I was gonna sort of pull this thing apart this weekend. I'm sorry.
I can tell you right now. I don't know if you feel comfortable putting in a side chat or just, I don't know if you know how to directly
Yeah.
message me on here,
Yeah.
Yeah. Send it to
Hold
him on
on.
a direct message. So
Yeah, I will.
and I can tell you exactly what the rents are.
Yeah. Sorry. So I'm sending this to Chris
why are you-
James.
Yep.
All right.
Why are you sending that? How much work does the property need?
I don't think it needs any. He bought it. He's only been living in it, less than a year. So
So what does that
Um,
mean?
I think it's all good. Maybe like there's a little scratch. It doesn't really need anything, is my understanding. Okay, Chris, I just sent you the town and the zip.
I can't find a zip code with that. I need the exact address.
I'm sorry, what do you need?
I need
Oh,
the
the
address.
address. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're fine. So just confirming, rear is about $2,000. The seller's looking to walk away. Was it 52?
Well, that's,
53, yeah.
53?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's what he needs to fix his truck, or his
Okay.
car, but I think he wouldn't mind a little more than that, but let's see what we got. Okay, sorry about that.
No, you got, yeah, TI. PRT, one. Is there a lockbox on the property?
No, but there's a key under the mat. Come on, we're talking Pittsburgh. We're not
With
talking
all-
New York City, which is where I live.
With all the snow out there, it's probably gone now. Let's
I
see.
shouldn't have told everybody that.
Too funny. All right. Okay. It's loading. For some reason, I feel like I looked at this one already. But let's see. What's the timeline for this gentleman or lady?
ASAP. He's kind of, I think he's calmed down a little bit, but at first he was like right out of the box, like, what can you give me? What do we do? But he's I think he's just feels like there's no hope. So he'll, you know.
When
just
is your next
follow.
conversation with this gentleman?
When or what?
When?
As soon as I want to have it with him. I think he's just sort of like now biding his time, because I told him I just needed to, work on this and figure it out. And since I really didn't know where to go, and I'm working with a team, but everybody's got their own stuff, and it's my responsibility to, bring some information to the table.
Are you sure this Enbridge? Or is it Amber, PA? Amber.
No, it's Ambridge.
It's not popping up.
Oh, okay. Maybe I got the address wrong. Sorry. No, I know it's Ambridge. I know the house, but did I get the wrong address? Oh,
It says no
sorry.
res-
Oh,
Come on, Katie.
I'm sorry. I'm flustered.
No worries.
There you go.
Okay. Let's see.
It's a little 2-story brick. You finding that one?
It's loading.
Okay.
We'll see.
Sorry. A little
No, no, no.
dyslexia. A little
No, no.
dyslexia there.
No worries. All right. So it did come up. 1 second.
Man, this is when somebody's supposed to tell a joke. Jesse, you probably Jesse has a lot in his back pocket, right?
So I'm looking at it right here. The rents and the medium rent's $850.
Okay.
You're probably looking at the max, depending on the condition of $1,100 to $1,300. But conservative, you're looking at $850, depending on the condition.
For rents. Right.
Just zooming in a little bit. I was screen share, guys, but I just do the privacy of this.
Yeah, I
address.
wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Thanks. I apprect it. I know everybody's not learning anything right here, but
This is actually, let me zoom out a little bit. Oh, it's actually 20 minutes away from the property I just purchased. It's not bad. So yeah, so if the PI is truly 631 and the rent's at 850,
yeah.
I can tell you already 850 is not good. So initially, depending on the way the condition of the property, right? So if let's say in the best case scenario, $1,300, right? So we take $1,300 times, let's just say 20% of that. Are you doing this with me?
Yes.
Okay. So $1,300 times 20% is what?
13. Oh, well, I was doing 850. Sorry.
Well, actually, no. Let's use real numbers. Let's do 850. So let's do 850 times 20%. And what is that?
I don't know. All right, boy, you got me doing all this stuff here.
This is like some things, guys, just want to let you know, this is some things that we literally go through on a daily basis, more so understanding if this is a deal or not, and understanding like the cash flow. And, this all could determine exactly how much you can pay for as like a finder's fee, assignment, and all that good stuff.
Right,
So,
exactly.
these are key things you need to know, because even the best, like we get a lot of people that say, hey, I want a $15,000 assignment. There's no cash flow. So
Yeah.
where are you gonna,
No, this is exactly what I need. 255.
You got from 850 times 20%.
Oh, 20. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Don't say the Lord's name in vain.
So guys, what I'm doing while she's looking that up is 850, which is
Okay,
actually
170. 170.
That is correct. So 850, right, is the market rent. We're doing that at extremely conservative with the market rent 850. And then I'm taking 20% of that 850, which is the gross, right? So 850 minus, what did you say?
170.
So 850 minus 170 is what?
Oh, God. You're making me work here. Jeez. It's 670. Did I get that
680.
right? Six, yeah.
So 680. And what was our
680,
PIT?
sorry. 680.
So again, that's just that, right? 680. What was our PITI?
PITI. Okay. Sorry, I am green.
No, you're fine.
What was the PITI, which is the 630, is that it?
631, yeah.
631.22?
What are you left with?
631.22. Well, we'll just round it to 632. So that's 7048.
Yep. So we're left with $49. 49 bucks right there. Now that 49 bucks is technically your net cash flow. However,
Ugh.
that's not including any lending. You need a lender, right? Sometimes unless you come out of pocket, if you get a lender, you got to pay your lender back. Sometimes lenders like to pay off in, you know, a monthly basis, a quarter basis, yearly, depending on specifically who your lender is. In this case, the best case scenario is for you to come out of pocket. But in this case, we don't want you to do that, right? We want you to get a lender. So if you were to get a lender, whatever that specific dollar amount, you know, you traditionally is like 8 to 12%, depending on who your lenders are. And let's say for even numbers, the lender wants to be paid $300 a month. So let's subtract $300. You're minus $251.
Right.
You're negative cash flow. No one's
Right.
going to buy that. No one wants that unless they're just collecting, you know, for tax purposes.
Right.
But and if we go on for that $1,300 mark, and again, we don't know the condition of the property.
I think it's
So-
in good condition. I mean, I'll just vouch for him and say it's in good condition. but
Never vouch for a seller.
I know.
When a seller or a wholesaler tells me it's in great condition, it's never. They tell, all you need is $15,000 of work. I always add another 15.
Yeah.
That's just Jesse and I. We go through a lot. It's not saying everything is stating is incorrect. It's just mentally we're prepared for it because we have other lenders' money on the line. And every deal we do, we always get a private money lender. And I got several lenders where I want to make sure they're protected and they're going to ensure that they get the money back. And you know, I guess that's another conversation for another day when it comes to lending, but more so. So right now we're just cash flowing. Let's say rough numbers. We're negative $251 at 850, right?
Right.
So the house had to be at 2021 standards. If not, depending on if you do a lease option, if you're doing $1,300, then yes, you will have the ability to cash flow, which is going to be great. But again, it all depends on your exit strategy and what the property actually looks like.
Right. Okay. So,
go ahead.
go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
you're fine. Go ahead. Saw you.
Well, you know, what I was hoping to be able to do is, you know, find somebody that just wants to buy this guy, you know, buy. So what I was thinking is at sub 2, so somebody could pick up the payments,
Mhm.
but yeah, I guess. So what
So
you're saying, what you're saying is somebody's not going to pick it up because they're not going to be making anything.
100%.
Yeah.
However, there's
Yes.
ways around it. There's so many different exit strategies that we can work out. Depending on how severe, I'm pretty sure there's probably no foreclosure. There's like that 52 or $5,300 that they want. Say that,
Yeah.
like I know you stated earlier, you wanted to
Yeah.
give them more. How can you give them more when there's nothing more to give?
Oh, I know. That's just my soft heart. That, you know,
No, trust me, we go through it all the time. Jesse
I
can
know.
speak to that all the time.
Going through it on this deal right now.
No, it's really hard to pull your emotions out of this when you've, you know, talked to somebody and they're just, you know, they've been hit with some stuff in life, and, you know, the guy is young and he thought he was going to be buying this house with his wife and everything. And then, you know,
Hey,
Yeah,
Chris,
absolutely.
went through
Yes.
divorce, his car died, and now he's just, you know, trying to move on. So how do I help this guy move on?
By having Jesse and I buy it. But with the ability to cash flow, we need, in order for us to buy it, we need to
Yeah.
understand exactly what's going on in that property. How do we know he states to you it's in great condition? Jesse and I walk in the property. There's a hole in the wall. There's
Right.
a roof. The roof is missing. There's
Right.
snow
Well,
on the ground. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not the case, but actually I've got somebody that can go and take a look at the house. So if that's on the
if
condition.
you want, I'm actually
Mhm.
going to be in Pennsylvania from next Monday
Ooh.
all the way to Saturday, March 4th.
Okay.
I can go look at it. I could FaceTime you, whatever that may look like, and walk the property. But and again, if you already got
Okay.
somebody going, I don't want to step on your toes. I'm just a resource. Just
No,
that.
no, How can
But
I
I will-
say no? How can I say, let's connect. I'll send you my number and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
sorry to deviate, but more so. But guys, her initial question was, when it comes to FHA loans, is it a little bit different? The answer is 100%. Yes,
Let's bring this boat back into the
right.
harbor.
Yeah, right.
All the way around.
But yes, 100% is a little bit different. There's some nuances that you definitely got to make sure it's covered before officially closing on the property. So when we get FHA loans, we definitely take that. Not saying we don't treat each one the same. It's just when it FHA, we just got to make sure we have all the information, all the missing pieces all together. So that takes a little bit longer, but
Right.
yes, we can work on it.
Great. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
No,
And
Hey,
Jess.
absolutely.
Chris, this is Elizabeth Me. Can you just do me a favor? I'm a visual person. I don't know about anyone else, but like, can you summarize or share a screen with just the numbers where you break down the numbers she gave you?
Share the screen.
Oh,
with the
real
numbers.
quick.
I kind of
Briefly to just kind of walk over what you just walked over. Like I was following you to some extent, but you lost me halfway
I
through.
can't show the address, so I didn't use the calculator.
Like-
I didn't use like I wrote it down more so.
Oh, okay. You're right. 'Cause you
Um,
can't, if you don't have a whiteboard, I guess you can't really just share that.
But I think basically what he's
I'm
saying is if you
sorry.
can write this down, let me recap because that helps me. And
Okay.
you can tell me. So basically he's saying, I don't exactly know how he got to this, but he looked it up. So basically we're saying that rents in the area are around $850.
Okay, got that.
So then times 30%. And the 30%.
So
Right.
again, I use 20%.
Oh, 20%.
I
Why did
know
I
some-
write 30? 20%.
No, you're fine. I know a lot of people use 25%, depending on how conservative you want to be. I know there's buyers out there that would do 10%. But in this day, that's the way the market is right now, specifically, you got to be conservative because until the market
Sure.
really corrects and everybody know that properties are just sitting on the market. I use that even comfortable number for me personally. I'm around 15 to 20%. I
And
know.
what does
Go ahead.
15 to 20% off the market rent is what you want to immediately take off.
That's correct. That is
Okay.
correct.
That's helpful.
Sorry,
Okay.
Katie. Back to you.
No, that's good because I was unclear and I clearly keep writing the wrong numbers down and everything. So
But you're
that's
taking the 20% off, Chris, because you're setting that aside for vacancies and repairs and stuff and building a war chest,
Absolutely.
right?
100%.
That's where that 20% is going. Like it's not just a thing that he's
for the
doing.
heck of it.
Right.
Just because we can.
Right.
No,
Right.
it's good to know where these numbers come from and how to, and
Yeah.
what their purpose is. So then you,
So that gets us to 170.
that gets us to
Yes.
170. So you take the 170 from the 850 and that gives us 680.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay, and then, okay, you're gonna have to finish this one for me, Chris, because we got 632. Oh, that's the month, that's the payment. So what do you call
Correct.
that? A PP?
PITI.
PITIs, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I've known that one before. Okay. So you got the PITI, which is the 632, which we just rounded, yes, 631.22. We rounded it up to 632. Subtract that from the 680 which gives us roughly $49. That's net
Correct.
cash flow, which is not good.
Right. Unless you like $50 a month.
Unless you
buy
want
the- buy-
$50 a month.
buy the deal all day.
Okay,
I
so
would definitely
that
break you a lot of
figure,
deals then.
so that figure right there lets us know whether this is something we should be taking another step further or leaving it kind of here. That's the
Absolutely.
quick calculation
Absolutely.
that you all do in order to kind of look at it and assess it quickly.
That's great.
Yes. Yep.
Right.
And again, that is not including lending. Sometimes the lenders, you got to take that into consideration. A lot of people who are greener, they think that's the final number. In reality, if that may be the final number if you're using your own money, but if you have a lender in place, you got to make sure they get paid back.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Chris, based on that information that we just went over, you wouldn't be looking at this for a sub two, you would be looking at this for a purchase, right? Buying it from him and then an exit strategy of a flip or a burr.
I would move forward creatively. There's other ways around it. There's definitely other ways around it. More so transparently, Katie doesn't have all the information yet. So once Katie and I get all the information from the actual seller,
Yeah.
we'll fully understand exactly what the next steps may look like. But would it be a cash transaction? Not at all.
Yeah.
All right.
Not at all. But it'll definitely be creative, more so sub to, and or specifically once I see the property, maybe innovation. It may be something that we're myself, Katie, and seller partner up on it and flip it together.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of different options depending on the way exit strategy. That's when Jesse and I will have to see exactly what that looks like before making that final decision. But I love that market. Depending on how the property looks, and it may be in a immaculate condition where we can get that $1,300, and I'm your buyer. Myself and Jesse are buyers all day for that. But we do got to be very conservative because transparently, Jesse and I are not going to use our own money. We're going to reach out to our, a lender that we know that we connect with and utilize their money and
Yeah.
ensure they get paid back. So
Right.
it all depends how we
Yeah.
look at it. But
Yeah.
that's a very good question.
Right.
Liz, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I hope
Thank you.
that answers your question.
No, it does. I just wanted to make sure I had the right numbers. You'd lost me at a certain point, but I think I'm there now. I'm kind of trying to think about my own market. I laugh in my head because I'm like, man, I haven't paid a mortgage that was under $2,000 ever. So I'm kind of getting stuck on that whole thing. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself with a property that cheap. So yeah, no, but that makes
Absolutely.
perfect sense. That's helpful. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So again, to Chris, understanding the existing market rent rates is very important. I know originally you said something about 1,200. Well, that's a game changer. Well, sort of. Could be for this exit strategy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe not talking about this property, maybe go back to your Utah property. Just talking general terms. What are some of the exit strategies? What are some of the criteria around the property? Excuse me. Wherever that just came from.
Bless you. I don't know if that was a sneeze or a cough, but
There's a
bless
cough.
you. Okay, there you go.
What are some of the changes in the numbers that would change your exit strategy?
NOI, net on return. Oh, net investment, I'm sorry, or return on investment, depending on what that looks like specifically. But I believe Jesse and I, we're actually going to wrap that deal. So we're going to actually look for a wrap buyer and keep ourselves in the deal. So we won't have any responsibilities to that property. We're going to have that wrap buyer who's going to move in. And for those who don't know who a wrap buyer is, it's those who can't qualify for a conventional loan. They can't just go to the bank. They may not have the best credit, but they have a lot of cash. So those are considered a wrap buyer, and they're all around us, right? And they probably got cash stashed somewhere, or whatever that specifically may look like. But those are the ones we want to look for that property. And for myself and Jessica, we probably cash flow about $550 to $600 on that property, which is pretty good, right? It's pretty good versus negative $251. Big difference, right? And we don't have to do nothing. We don't have to manage it. We don't have to do anything. We just wrap it to someone else to take care of all those nuances.
That one is super cool. Super cool. Do you want us to go a little more in depth with it? Would you guys like to hear how that deal came together?
Yeah, are you calling them a rat buyer, an RAT buyer? I'm sorry.
Yes, a rat buyer. No, it's W. It's that what it W. A
Sorry, I
rat.
have a hearing problem. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Jesse,
Yes, I
it's
would
all
like
you.
to hear more about that. Thank you.
Yes. This is
Yeah,
a great
it's
strategy to
super-
use.
100%. 100%. It's one of the neat things about creative finance is it's not just a way to enter a property, but there's so many great strategies for using as an exit strategy. So like many of you heard, I won't go over the details again unless you guys want to, but I think everybody was in here when we were kind of talking about that Utah property. They're $5,100 behind in HOA dues, and they're about to get foreclosed on. So Chris and I, in short, just like Chris was just talking about, we're buying this property sub 2. So I talked to the paralegal today, and we only need to come in with $2,500. So I'm going to go borrow $2,500 from somebody else. We got $5,000 that we're putting in the seller's pockets. So we're at total $7,500 now, plus closing costs. So I'd probably imagine somewhere around $2,000 or so for closing costs. So let's just call it an even 10, just to keep numbers simple. So we're all in this $10,000 now. Nothing needs to be done. We're just going to turn around and sell it on a wrap.
Yeah.
So just like Chris was saying, the PITI for this property was $2,000 between the principal, the interest, taxes, and insurance. I think that was just shy of 1,800, I think. And then it was 17 and some change, but then we got a $200 HOA. So we're just trying to keep numbers simple here.
Yeah.
So we're all in $2,000 a month on this property. The
We-
rents,
Fee.
I beg your pardon?
You guys call that an entry fee? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Our total entry fee is 10 grand.
Correct.
Thank you. That's actually a good point, because a lot of people will bring deals and they'll be like, oh, hey, we only need $7,500, but they
So
don't.
Jesse, can you actually go over what an entry fee is? Like, what are the 7 parts of the entry fee?
Yeah, great question. So there's a whole bunch of different I guess parts that you would include into an entry fee. Some of those parts include any arrears to the property. So in this case, we have we're behind on HOA dues. Sorry, I'm trying to. I got text messages and stuff coming. I'm trying to tell my wife that I'm in a meeting right now. So we got arrears, we have closing costs, we have what it's going to cost to renovate the property, any real estate agent commissions. Oh, Chris has got it right here. Any wholesale fees. So if anybody's bringing a property, you can wholesale a creative deal. So there's these 7 parts. All of these things make up your total cost in as your entry fee into the property. So if you're like wholesaling, for example, if you're a cash buyer, like it's not enough just to buy. Like if you're purchasing a property for 100,000 and then renovations are 50 grand, your entry fee into this deal isn't $100,000. Right? Because now you still need 50 grand to renovate the property, and then you need to pay your wholesaler an assignment fee, and then you got closing costs and all that other kind of fun stuff, holding costs on your hard money. So there's all these different factors that go in that total up what your total entry fee in. So if somebody's wholesaling a property, where the purchase price is $100,000, and then you got another $50,000. Then you've got $10,000 assignment fee, and then closing costs, and if there's an agent involved, catching up, all that kind of fun stuff. It all plays. So your total entry fee isn't $100,000. It might be $170,000, $180,000. So in this scenario, we're taking it over sub 2. So we're catching up the HOA, which is we're only putting 2,500 down. So we're 2,500, 5 grand to the seller, 7,500, and then we'll call it 2,000 to 2,500 in closing costs. We'll just call it like an even 10. There's no assignment fee. There's no holding costs or anything like that. There's no renovation. So we're all into this a true $10,000. Now, as I was saying before, the rental rates in this area are $1,700 to $1,800. Well, the total monthly payment on this thing is $2 grand. So for a lot of other people who don't know creative finance would look at this, even a traditional buyer who's buying properties, just renting it out, it doesn't make sense. Even if he was to go to a bank and get a loan, and let's pretend like interest rates were good, because the interest rate on this property is 3%. So it's fairly decent. But this sucker isn't cash flowing at all. So from the average the average investor, they're looking at this like, okay, there's nothing I can do on this. So what Chris and I are doing on this, we're going to sell it on a wrap. And what that means is we're going to create, everybody just, let me see in the chat, does anybody not know what seller finance is?
Julia.
If you guys know what seller finance is, that's going to make this a lot easier. Jillian, let's go. Let's go to an knock some igloos. Toya doesn't know. Okay, cool. So Toya, basically what we're doing, this is a perfect example. Perfect example, guys. Let's say that Chris is selling a vehicle. And let's say Chris wants $5,000 for this vehicle and he posts it for sale on Facebook or Craigslist. Chris, what do you think as soon as you post this on Facebook, this vehicle for $5,000, what do you think people are going to come in and offer you cash?
3,500.
Yeah.
Grand.
100%.
Much lower than my price.
Lowball the crap out of you, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So what if I say, Chris, I will come in and I will buy your car from you and I'll give you your exact asking price. I'll give you $5,000. But if you can allow me to just make monthly payments to you, I'll give you exactly what you're asking. And Chris is like, okay, that sounds like a pretty good deal. I don't need all $5,000 right now. I just want all my money at some point. So I'm just going to keep things really simple right now. So let's say that Chris and I come to an agreement where I pay him $100 a month for this car. Now I own this car. I can go rent it out, i.e. I can go put it on Turo. I can make money out. I can sell it on a wrap.
Mhm.
Right? So let's say Jillian is looking for a vehicle. And I say, hey, Jillian, I've got a vehicle that I can sell you. And Joan's like, that'd be great because I've got a job, I've got money, I've got income coming in, but my credit's quite not where it needs to be. Not saying it's not, Jillian, just using this as an example. But let's say she's like, my credit's just not right where it needs to be. So I can't go to the bank and get a loan, but I would love to see what we could do to where I could buy this car if you'll let me make payments to you. And so I say, okay, cool. So let's say I sell Chris's car that I purchased from him to Jillian. And let's say I sell it to Jillian for a higher price and at a higher interest than what I purchased it from Chris for. So as an example, let's say I sell it to Jillian for $10,000 at 4% interest. I don't know what all this equates to, but let's just call it $350,000. So let's say she gives me $2,000 down. And then she just makes monthly payments to me on the rest of that $8,000 for $350 at $350 a month. So what's important to realize in this scenario, guys, is that's not my car, right? That's Jillian's car. She owns that car. She's responsible for swapping over the winter tires. She's responsible for the oil changes. That's not my car. That's Jillian's car. I'm just the bank in this situation. So out of nowhere, guys, I just created $5,000 of equity out of thin air. We created money in this. Every single month, I've got $350 coming to me. She gave me $2,000 up front. I'm going to put that in my pocket. That's sushi money, baby. And then I'm going to take that $350. And now don't forget, I still owe Chris. So I'm going to take 100 of that and I'm going to go pay Chris. So now I'm making money every month and I'm just the bank on this. I'm collecting interest on it as well. So that's essentially what seller finance is. That when I purchased Chris's car, I purchased it from him on seller finance. He was willing to say, Jesse, I'll sell you my car at $5,000 and you can make payments to me. And then I turned around and I seller financed that at a higher price and at a higher interest rate to somebody else. Now, as Chris was mentioning, you guys might be thinking like, well, who's this benefit? Who would come in and buy this at a higher price and higher interest? Well, just like he said, we're not looking, there's so many people right now that want to be homeowners. They're sick of renting. They're sick of the landlord jacking prices up. They're sick of the landlord because we're in the middle of a pandemic and housing prices are skyrocketing. They're sick of the landlords just selling the property out from underneath them. They love where they're at. They love the schools their kids are going to. They love the church their family goes to. They love the neighborhood they're in. They're sick of renting. They want to be homeowners. Their credit just isn't quite where it needs to be. So who's going to solve that problem? So what better way because we're talking about networking, right? We're talking about building relationships, being intentional. Who would have access to people who are getting denied for loans? A loan officer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now you have, more often than not, especially right now, more often than not, you have people that are coming in and going to these banks or sitting down with a loan officer and getting denied because the credit's not where it needs to be. So I have a loan officer friend in Utah. So I reached out to her today and said, hey, Chris and I have a property we're trying to sell or finance. I will be the bank. If you have somebody who came in and couldn't qualify for a loan, guess what? Let me know. And Chris and I will sell them our house. That way they can have a home. Now, obviously, Chris and I have to be able to take that. We have to be able to take that property and put food on the table for our families. So the value is there for us because now we can cash flow on it. So we sold it at a higher price. So the payoff on this original loan that we're taking over is like 290 grand. We are selling it for 360,000 at 10% down and 7% interest. So guys, what's neat about this is just like in that scenario when I sold Chris's car to Jillian, we're selling this house to somebody else at a higher price and at a higher interest. So at closing, we went from looking at a property where this thing negative cash flows. What's 10% of 360,000? 36 G's. So somebody is cutting us a check at closing for 36 grand. I'm going to go buy sushi with it and book Chris and I a cruise so we can go see some sunshine. And then that note basically comes out to, what was it, Chris? It was 14 and some change or 15 and some change, I think, right?
Yeah, just use 15.
Or 20, it was
numbers.
2,500.
Yeah.
I say 15, meant 25.
No, I know what you mean.
So anyway, the original PITI and the HOA was 2 grand. And this new note is 2,500. So what's cool about this, guys, is me and Chris are making 36 grand up front. And we're cash flowing 500 and some change every single month. And guess what? We are not the landlord in this. Just like I wasn't the owner of Jillian's car after I sold it to her, we are no longer the landlord when we sell this property. We're not dealing with leaky toilets. We're not dealing with all this stuff. When stuff breaks with the property, that is the owner's responsibility. That is not ours. So anyway, that's what we're doing in essence with this property, is we went from taking a property that was negative cash flowing and we sold it at a higher price and at a higher interest rate than the original note. And we sold it to somebody who wants, or we will be selling it to somebody who wants to be a homeowner. Their credit just isn't quite where it needs to be. I know we got a couple hands up. Jane, what's going on? Hope all that
Hey,
made
guys.
sense.
I just want to say thanks so much because I'm new to creative financing. So that last explanation was really great. I know I'm going to be looking for it in the recordings and playing it again. To hear how that broke down. Couple questions for you. First of all, sorry for my blurt out about Western Pennsylvania. People confuse Eastern and Western Pennsylvania all the time. They're
No,
like,
that's totally fine.
they're
Trust me,
like,
I
it's like
I
North
truly
and
don't
South
know.
Dakota.
I
It
don't-
literally is so different. It's like
Yeah,
7
Chris.
hours
Come on,
between
Chris.
the two cities.
Gosh. I
Philadelphia.
tell him all the time, Jane. I'm like, Western, Eastern Virginia, you got to get with it.
I'm just saying.
He
I'm
gets
just
it all the
saying.
time from me. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
You talk to a West Virginia person, they're gonna be like, I don't live in Virginia. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, so
Or
anyway,
Pennsylvania. I
live in
think I
LA
said
now.
Virginia. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so couple of things I wanted to ask. What's your criteria? Is it that you have relationships with, as you said, loan officers in certain areas that can give you ideas of who would be interested in a creative finance deal? Like, how do you how do you find deals? I guess you kind of answered that with the loan officer angle, but
Like, are you
there
asking how I find
ways
deals
that
or
you
how I
find
would find a
deals?
buyer?
Both. I'm fascinated to learn about both. And also, do you have specific criteria? Like, well, we only look in, cities that are mid-level cities, not high density cities and not small towns. Like, I'm just fascinated to hear more about like what your business plan is.
You're going to be really disappointed. Chris,
Oh, okay.
Chris and I are super hungry right now. So, I mean, fill me in if I'm wrong, Chris. But
You're good.
we're pretty wide open. This is the first property in Utah, that we'll end up buying and holding, selling it on a wrap. So we're still in the deal, obviously. But I mean, it's not like we were intentionally marketing in Utah. Somebody just brought us a deal and we're like, oh, all right, yeah, this makes sense. Let's see what we can do to make some money on it. So that's where I think Chris and I differ from probably most other buyers. You got a lot of buyers and you're probably seeing this already. Like, you're like, hey, give me your buy box. And everybody's like, hey, I want a 2-story purple house. It's got to be in this, it's got to be in this city, in this neighborhood. It's got to be off this street. It's got to be facing north, and it's got to have a green roof. You know what I mean? Like, they're so specific, and that's not Chris and I. I think we're at a point in our business where we're, at least from my perspective, we're early enough on that we're just like, dude, I just want to do a shit ton of deals and make a lot of money.
Of course, yeah.
So I don't know if that's the wrong attitude to have, but
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 6 months as the COVID foreclosures or COVID relief starts to fade away. And
yeah,
and I'm just fascinated because this is all new to me, and I think what you're doing is really brilliant and could really help people out who are, in desperate times and still affords you a living. So, I don't know, like if there are more examples you want to give, I'm listening ears, so.
oh my gosh, we got more examples than I would know what to do with.
Oh yeah. No, we appreciate you, Jay. And I was laughing at Shane's comment. Jesse buys Fox 3.
I was laughing at the same thing. I wasn't laughing at you if you were watching me. I was laughing at Shane's comment. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, no, and by the way, I have access to a couple properties in Pittsburgh right now that I'm trying to figure out what to do with. So
Is it Eastern Pittsburgh?
not at all. Well, it's like the South Side Slopes. So I
Oh,
don't know if
South Side
you know that area.
Slopes. Yeah, we're all over South Side Slopes.
Yeah, it overlooks
kidding.
the downtown.
We have no
area.
idea where that.
You have no idea what I'm talking about. All right,
But
sounds
more
good.
so, yeah, 100%. We can all hop on a call, whatever, or Zoom, whatever that specifically may look like. Just let us know. We're buying heavily in all 50 states. As long as the numbers work out, 100%, we're buying. Even if we're not the buyer, we 100% move the deal. We know who to buy. Well, not who to buy, but whom will actually buy the deal. I know he mentioned loan officers, but there's other ways to find rep buyers. So we have a lot of different ways of trying to find them and get a body, not a body. That sounds horrible. Like a body in a house to find an individual.
South side,
dude. South side.
Yeah, I mean, I
body.
I
There you
might
go.
even consider partnering with people to work on them. I'm just,
That's
it's
the fastest way to learn something.
100%.
yeah,
JV and partner making it happen.
yeah. All right. Well, I just put it out to the group too. So anybody who wants to contact me about Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, let me know.
Yeah, do it. Start hitting up pre-foreclosures.
Well, wait a
That's-
minute, guys.
that's a great-
Wait, hold on. I get first dibs, first right of refusal.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
You
no
bet.
worries.
Thank you. I think Shane, you're on mute, homie.
Oh, Shane,
Maybe he's not
yourself.
talking to us.
I did mute myself there. I apologize.
There you go.
So that does bring up a good point. What do you find first, the deal or the buyer?
So I think for most people, Craig, and I'm curious to hear your perspective on this, Chris. I think for most people, it's good practice to have buyers lined up and just know what they are wanting, just so you can find it, execute on it, and know that you're not leaving the seller hanging, hoping that you come in and find a buyer. So I think that's good practice to have. Although I think Chris and I do that, but at the same time, I mean, we've got buyers all over the place.
Yeah.
So I mean, Chris and we got 4 million buyers, I think, across the entire country. So that's part of our business model as well. Like if people are like, hey, I've locked this deal up, don't have a buyer for it. They bring it to us and then we can find them a buyer and then we work together and move that deal to the finish line. So I see it both ways, but for somebody who's maybe a little newer, I just in the interest, you always want to keep in mind, we're here to make money. Like, don't get it mixed up. We're here to help people. We're here to make money at the same time, but we need to make sure that while we're doing it, it is ethical and is in the best interest of doing what's right for the seller.
Absolutely.
So don't just go lock a property up and give the seller the runaround. So you have 70 days to try to hopefully find a buyer, and then you got to cancel on it. Chris and I were actually working a property, I think it was in North Carolina, and a wholesaler locked a property up too high. They locked it up for retail price. It was a brand new wholesaler. I think it wasn't. I take that back. It was not listed on the market, but it was worth. I don't remember what the numbers were, but it was. They were asking like 300,000. It was worth 300,000. This was like 18, 20 months ago or something like that. Actually, I guess this was before Chris and I got together. But so this wholesaler locked this property up too high. Didn't really understand what wholesaling was or anything. He just thought he's supposed to go lock a property up and then go have somebody find a buyer. So from the buyer's perspective, they were like, man, we have a full cash offer at our full asking price. And these guys were moving to Phoenix. So they started lining up moving companies and getting arrangements, buying plane tickets, doing all the things, all the while not knowing the wholesaler was fumbling the ball and trying to find a buyer for it. Of course, you're not going to find a cash buyer to come in and pay retail prices. So we got on the phone. We ended up turning it to a creative deal, and thankfully we were able to kind of save face a little bit and help the wholesaler. It was a huge, kind of lesson for the wholesaler. But I just in general practice, I think it's a good idea to go in and start building relationships when you get into Zooms and Facebook Lives, and when you have the opportunity anywhere to network and just find out what people are looking for, where they're buying, and build those relationships. Now, I said it in the chat a little bit earlier when we were talking about lenders, like make those relationships. Don't make it just a transactional relationship. Don't just be reaching out to it. It's interesting because people reach out to Chris and I all the time and they're like, Chris and I, we're not private money lenders. We have our own private money. That's who we borrow from, but him and I are not private money lenders. We do like DSCR lending and fix and flip loans and bridge loans, construction loans, that type of thing, but we're not private money lenders. And so we have people reach out to us and they're like, hey, I need private money for this deal. And what they don't understand is that we have those relationships with our private money lenders, but this isn't like a referral thing. Like people who are private money lenders, what you'll come to find out is they want those relationships. They don't just, somebody posts a Facebook post and says, hey, I need private money lending for 50 grand by next week. Like, it's not like you have private money lenders that are like, oh, I have no idea who this person is. Let me go throw them my 50 grand. So be intentional with your buyers, be intentional with your lenders. I would make that part of your guys' daily activities is time block. Even if it's 30 minutes every single day to connect with somebody new, that's 25 new people every single month. And in there, you're going to have people that you can JV deals with. You're going to have people that are lenders, and you're going to have people that are buyers. So I just side note, don't mean to deviate too much, but Jillian, back to you.
No, y'all, I'm like making notes, doing all the things. Thank you so much. So the first question I had, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to. I'm quasi newish, but just like my mind was putting the things together recently, but I want to confirm it for anyone who has no idea. So without further ado,
yeah, please.
A wrap is seller financing when it is followed by you're also buying it sub 2. So it's called a wrap, but it is seller financing, but like the whole thing together, the package together is called a wrap, right? Like the sub 2 and the seller financing, that's a wrap.
So there's two different parts. So you have an entrance and then you have an exit. So we purchased it sub 2. we sold it on a wrap, but that entire transaction isn't like, you wouldn't tell somebody, hey, I did a wrap deal, and expect them to know that you took over the mortgage payments and then sold it on a wrap. Like
Okay.
you could go buy, do you own a house right now or are you renting?
Yes. Own.
You own? So you
Mhm.
could turn around and sell your house right now on a wrap. Do you have equity in your house?
Yes.
Let's say, for example, not to deviate too much. Let's say you had 100 grand in equity, just as an example, just a thought.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
Got 100 grand in equity. Let's say, do you know what a cash out refinance is?
Yes.
Okay. So let's say you do a cash out refinance on your
To
house.
get some of the equity out or whatever.
Right. So just for argument's sake, let's say you get $100,000 in your pocket.
Mhm.
You've got a new mortgage, right? You could turn around and then sell your property for even more than the property's worth.
Right.
You could sell on a wrap. So let's say you cash out refi, not to deviate this too much or get too like into the weeds or confuse anybody, but let's say you refinance it. You put $100,000 in your pocket. Your new mortgage is 300 grand, just as an example. And let's say you turn around and sell it for 360,000 on a wrap.
Yes.
So none of that was creative to the extent, like nothing about the entrance of that was creative, right? Like it's still a conventional
Right.
loan, presumably, or maybe a VA or FHA, whatever you used. But you put 100 grand in your pocket, which is neat because it's tax free, right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
You
That,
have
I mean,
100,000 of tax free. You sell it for 360 grand at 10% down. That's an additional 36 grand that wrap buyer is bringing. And now you're cash flowing on top of your property as well. I mean, I know a lot of people that sell their property and then they want to take those funds and go buy a new property. But this is just an example.
so in that
how you
case,
could
I'm
take
cutting out
that.
a sub two. Like I'm still paying that, but I'm selling it on a wrap, meaning like I'm using seller finance, but the whole thing together is called a wrap because of the strategy. And I'm
Right.
selling
So
it-
you have
okay.
this original mortgage and then you're just wrapping that mortgage with different terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of think
Sure.
of it. So, but yeah,
It's,
yeah.
and sometimes depending on the specific state, they can call it like a mirror wrap. It can go state specific. All it comes back to the same thing. Even like land contracts, right? People call it land contracts, bond for deed, deed for bond. I mean, there's just so many different verbiage out there. It all means the same thing. Long as the title company and the attorney know how they're doing, you're good.
Cool, cool,
That's
cool.
all. That's all. That's the only part I really need to know that this is legal.
And well, and that's for me, I'm like, okay, that's great. I just also, oh man, I lost my train of thought. Where'd it go? Damn it. No, but
Okay,
okay,
we're-
that's what I was gonna say. When you do go, say it's not, my situation, say it's someone else's, I bought this house subject to,
Mhm.
I turn around and I'm finding end buyers. Do I say, hey, I have this, like what, essentially, like, are you saying I have this, this property under contract subject to, and I'd like to seller finance it? Like, how do you say, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of, I'm
Well,
curious.
you're the
Or you
property
can
owner.
either price
You're the
them.
property owner.
Sure.
You don't
that's
have to
true.
tell people that you have it under contract subject to, like, no one's going to know what that means. So, and it's
Right.
really not pertinent to who you're selling
The
it to.
next- Right.
The
Right.
person that you're selling it to doesn't even know that there's an original mortgage.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And
They have no
but
idea.
They do know that I'm selling to them, seller finance, or is it owner finance? I don't know. So
Yeah,
owner,
they're synonymous. You can use either or. So it's just like when in that scenario, when I sold you Chris's car, like, as far as you knew, I give Jesse $2,000 down and I pay him $350 a month.
yeah.
Same thing like
Whatever
ours.
deals or anything I have with anybody else is nobody else's business. It doesn't
Sure.
involve them. They don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
So, for example, I mean, just building relationships with like loan officers is great, or like credit repair companies, right? You got a bunch
That
of
was gonna
people
be
that are
my
coming to
next
these
question,
companies to help
but
them
keep
build
talking,
credit.
so I don't mean to cut you off. Talk again. Talk more about credit. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I was just saying you can build relationships with people who own or run credit repair companies.
Mhm.
I like that. Okay, so that
People are also got lists of people who need a house but can't qualify for conventional.
so that's beautiful, Shane, Jesse. Perfect segue to my next question, which was, so how do you like, how have y'all gone about, creating relationships with loan officers or credit repair humans? Like, how do you strike up a conversation, or are you actually marketing to them? Like, how are you creating those relationships? Because I don't run across many loan officers in my day to day. So I'm just curious.
You do.
Yeah.
You just don't. You literally do.
They're all out there. They're investing too. They know that life. Okay, cool.
You know, it just there's some loan officers right now you may have to, open their mind up a little bit, but 100% the traditional way is out there. Loan officers there to make money, right? They want to connect, they want to build those relationships, and they're literally all around you. Like, as soon as you start, you can meet the loan officer at the gym, the hospital. You could be just sitting in the waiting room at the doctor's office. They're right next to you.
Yes, yes.
You just never know.
Well, now
But,
I
like,
know. I wouldn't have connected it like that, but y'all are
You could
making-
make a post in Shane and Cindy's Facebook and say,
You'd
hey,
be
I'm looking to
shocked.
build relationships with people who are loan
Yeah.
officers.
yeah, you'd be
So there
shocked.
are a ton of, like, in your experience, you found a lot of loan officers in real estate investing, kind of like how agents
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of cross over, and they're like,
It's
knowledgeable
kind
and
of like a real estate agent. Like, everybody has a real estate agent, oh, I'm listing my house with my family's friend,
Mhm.
loan officers are kind of the same way in my experience. Everybody knows somebody who's a loan officer.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, that's awesome. Now I know. Thank y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
That was a
absolutely.
really
Yeah.
golden
And not
nugget.
just loan,
Yeah, no
not
idea.
just like loan officers, but also private money lenders. Literally, like, one of my private money lenders is my local branch manager, M&T Bank.
I
Like,
thought you were
literally
about to say barista.
Oh, but you just don't. You never know. The branch manager, also my local attorney, Tim. He's in upstate New York. He's fully know exactly what's going on in the real estate. He loves real estate. He loves to invest, and he handles a lot of our transactions in upstate New York. So we built that relationship, and you just never know. You might be walking in the store, just having a simple conversation. You never.
Can I ask a question to build off that?
Yes,
Just-
absolutely.
Sorry, I'm finding your
Jane.
questions that you just asked, Jillian, really smart. And I just wanted to build off of that and just ask. So I hear again and again, if make friends with realtors, they'll, they can let you know of off-market properties, or people who aren't able to fix up their house and, but are going into foreclosure and need to find a private money lender or investor or whatever. So, but in those cases, you give the realtor, I've been told you give the realtor, a thank you, gift of like, maybe a finder's fee of like 1,000 or 2,000 or something like that. Are there, I mean, I'm sure it broaches some ethical questions, but I mean, how do you return the favor, so to speak, to loan officers, or return the favor to credit repair folks, to build those relationships? Do you do that? Like,
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, once
Great
you get, Chris and I were actually having this exact same conversation today. Like, once you start getting into the realm of like licensed professionals, like, there's kind of this line you gotta walk for sure to make sure that they're being compensated and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But don't forget, I want to point one more thing out. Obviously, we want to make sure that everybody's getting paid. We want to make sure that everybody is building that relationship and getting compensated for their efforts. One of the things that Chris and I do, if we let's say for example, let's say we just find somebody on Facebook. Somebody's like, oh, I love you guys' property, because you can market buyers on Facebook as well.
Yep.
Say, hey, I've got a property, no banking needed, bad credit, okay, and you're going to get people that are interested. So let's say you get somebody who's like, yes, I've got the money, I can make the payments, I can do the down payment. You still want to have them qualify. There needs to be some sort of paper trail, so nobody can come back and say, hey, they sold me a house that I couldn't afford and they knew it, and blah, 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 blah. So you want to get them qualified with a loan officer as well. So there's ways of going back and making sure that people are getting compensated. Christmas gifts are, know,
Right, you're,
always-
you're kind of keeping that, you're giving them business, the loan officer business by doing
Right,
that, is what you're saying.
right,
Yep.
right. Yeah, you
Right on.
you lead with value. That's the most
Lead with
important
value.
thing.
That's what I was trying to say. That's the phrase.
100%.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, you got it. You got it, Jane. Absolutely. Yeah, great question.
Is
Fantastic question.
there- But there's no like kind of standard, commission or anything that goes with that. Like that's not
No,
part of that ecosystem.
there's no like
No.
nothing set in stone or anything like that. Sometimes a broker may say, whatever that may look like. I think Jesse and I, not the last one, the Arizona one we did. How much did
Yeah.
we give her? How much
think it
was
was
it 15 or
2,500
25?
bucks.
Oh, so $2,500 for that one, right? Jesse and I made $30,000 off of it, but more so she wanted 25. It just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Um,
was that's a great that was a great deal, Chris.
yeah.
Yeah, this one was actually listed on market, guys. It was not selling. And come to find out, the price was too high, but they had to list it that high because there was zero equity in the property. So the sellers had to list it high enough to cover closing costs and commissions so that the sellers could walk away.
Yeah.
But because they had to do that, the property was listed too high and wasn't selling. So Chris and I literally negotiated this to $0. We literally,
Yep.
it was literally a free house. Literally just took the deed, gave it to Jesse and Chris. Jesse and
Absolutely.
Chris didn't want it. So we wholesaled that sub to somebody else for 30 grand. And then we also paid the agent $2,500 for basically a referral fee.
How long, you said too long, like how long was too long for, would y'all like, did you pull a list that was like, oh, they're on for 112 days plus or something, or?
No, this actually came from a referral. I had a relationship with a realtor in Phoenix, and she was like, hey, somebody on my team is having issues with this. I know you do some creative stuff. I have no idea what this looks like, but would you take a look at it? So we said, yeah. That one specifically came from a referral.
But if you had to say something was on the MLS for too long, how long would you say that? is?
I would say,
I would
60
say days.
Yeah, 60 days.
60 days.
Yeah, 45 days, the agent's gonna have their ego. After like 60 days, it's gonna come down just a little bit. After 90 days, they need help.
100%. Yeah, on market leads, guys, are going to be really good this year, just as good as off market. So
Yeah.
if you can find a unicorn agent who understands what it is you're trying to do, and they're on board with both of you guys, I think that's the issue, is you have a lot of agents who, because they're licensed professionals, and no disrespect to anybody in here who's an agent, but just in general, there's a lot of agents who are under the impression, because they are licensed, that they do know everything and will tell you that creative finance is illegal or it's unethical, or anything like that. So sometimes working with agents in a lot of cases can be kind of difficult, because they're kind of that gatekeeper from being what could potentially help solve their seller's problem, but because they don't fully understand it, or they're not open to it, you don't necessarily get that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to mention something that I just saw in the comments. Cindy, you're 100% right. Just be careful about daisy chains. And those who don't know what daisy chains is, just in general, it's basically, just say like myself, I'm the seller, Jesse's the wholesaler, right? He's the wholesaler. Jesse's looking for a buyer. Shane states he's a buyer, but in reality, Shane is not the buyer. Shane found a buyer who's Julia.
Yeah.
And so initially he is daisy chaining, right? However, if Shane communicates with Jesse and states, hey, Jesse, just to let you know, I'm not the buyer, but I do know someone who can buy it for us, or whatever that looks like. That's transparency versus Shane's a daisy chainer. Then also Julie is not the buyer. Also, she's daisy chaining to someone else. And also it's like 18 people involved. And you went from a $20,000 spread to down to $2,000 each.
Dang. This is great. I'm sorry. I'm like I said, I'm quasi new. So a lot of things start firing and connecting. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. So are you saying daisy chaining is non-transparent connecting? It's like daisy chaining is being non-transparent, but you're like just connecting.
In my
people.
opinion, when people, it could be a pro and a con.
Mm.
If I'm okay, like in a hypothetical, if Jesse said to Shane, I don't care what you make on top of this, I want $10,000. As long as I get my $10,000, you can have whatever the rest is. Now, if Shane comes back to Jesse, knowing that Julian gave a $30,000 spread and try to knock Jesse's price down, that's not ethical. So, on a hypothetical, Shane could say, "Oh, Jesse, the buyer said he's got to be at $15,000 and knock Jesse $5,000 off." Now Jesse's only making $5,000, but Shane's making $25,000.
I like sushi too.
So that is unethical. Like, is it a lot of daisy chain? And like transparently with my transaction coordinating company, we see a lot of different things that happen behind the scenes. We actually know who's a legitimate buyer. When we receive those HUDs, we know we've got to gather all this information. We see we're sending all these documents out. So in our eyes, we know who's the legitimate buyer, but at the same time, actually the one we just closed on, myself and Jesse, with this was in Cocoa, Florida. The spread on that was 60. Was that Cocoa? No, yes, Sun City. It was Sun City. You're right. $63,000 assignment, right? Mm-hmm. However, guess how many people was on that? There's, myself, Jesse, I can't really count him because we in one LLC. So it was one LLC along with another wholesaler. That's two. Then it was actually a third wholesaler, then a fourth wholesaler, which the fourth wholesaler didn't we thought was the buyer. To find out it was actually some individual named Frank. Who was a find. All these people got to split $63,000. Right? So Frank. It's just little things like that, but they know I was hired as a TC to actually initiate the transaction. So I saw all that stuff on the HUD because we got to communicate with all parties and all that good stuff. Just be transparent. Just say, hey, I'm not the buyer, but hey, can I help you facilitate this transaction? That is okay. I can work with those individuals all day and night. But if you tell me the buyer, you negotiate my fee down, I probably won't ever work with you again. 100%.
Absolutely. You burn a bridge.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm to be completely honest, I'm sorry, and you can take me down because I know I'm like right here. It's fine. No, whenever you want. By the way, I have all these follow-up questions because things are just firing, and I'm like, oh, finally, it's like firing with all this stuff. But no offense, I just still don't really get daisy chaining yet, but I'm gonna learn more. So.
Astro flipping is daisy chaining.
Okay,
that's Jamel's course. Astro, like it's multiple individuals and trying to get to a common goal. Let's just say that.
Okay.
And daisy chaining in itself isn't bad. It's when you don't tell everybody that you're daisy chaining. Your whole
just communicate. That's all you gotta do.
That's the problem.
Yeah. No, totally.
And just to give you a real life example, the other day Cindy just feeds me deals and puts me in a little dark room and I just crunch numbers all day. So I'm doing underwriting for mobile home parks and got a spreadsheet and lines because there are multiple deals going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sends me a new one and I'm doing the numbers. I'm like, this all sounds familiar, So I finally picked my head up and looking. And 3 days ago, we got the same park sent to me by somebody completely different. It's like, and Chris says that he's the buyer, and Jesse sent it to me. He said, Chris said he's the seller, and Jesse said he's the seller. So I just kind of sent them both back and said, "He's not telling me the truth. Who's got the contract?" And then that's what it comes out. It's like one of them had the contract. Okay. If the other person would have said right from the get-go, "Hey, I got this from Chris, and I'm trying to for him," well, okay, that's a different story. But when you both show up and say, "Hey, I am the seller," that's not ethical.
Agree. Yeah, transparency is key, especially within our company. We're very transparent. We let people know right away we could potentially be the buyer for this one, or if we're not a buyer, are you okay? We try to find one of the other buyers to get it to the finish line. And because at the end of the day, what we how do I communicate this? We want to see everyone be successful around us, whatever that may look like. And a lot of people don't they don't feel the same, right? They feel entitled. And one thing about Jesse, I and our other business partner, Colin, when we looking at these different deals and more so, we are always trying to look out for everyone else. We want to make sure every single body get paid on the deal. And of course we put the seller first, ensure the seller is taken care of, whatever that may look like. Maybe we got to buy them a U-Haul truck and actually move them across town, whatever that may happen. I mean, it looked like I did it before, did it in California. We waited 6 months to close on this transaction, knowing I was going to get a $24,000 assignment fee. I wasn't rushing it. However, the wholesaler that was involved, that was only going to get $7,000 of it, the 24, he kept calling the seller, rushing her. And transparently, I have not worked with that individual since then. You're rushing a seller out who literally just lost her husband 3 months ago from cancer. She needs time. She even stated that she needs a little bit of time to go through everything that's in her house. Myself, the lender, and also the other two individuals that was involved, we're okay with it. But the wholesaler was just wondering when he was going to get paid. So, and from that day on, I know I would never wonder when the next time I was going to work with him, because he wasn't genuinely worried about the seller. He was worried about when are we going to close this? When are we going to close this? And it got to a point he's reaching out to me, my buyer, and all this other stuff. It just got to a point like you would wing those individuals out, and you make a lot more money literally being genuine, being yourself, and not just yourself, just being transparent.
Yeah.
And we waited 6 months. Was it worth it? 100%, because the seller was happy. And literally within 3 weeks after the seller moved out, we bought her sister's property. No lie, California, Stockton, California. We bought it. Well, I didn't buy it. My buyer bought it. Made 15,000, but but it's just like little things like that. Versus if we would have rushed her out, she would never thought about giving me a call and say, "Hey, Chris, I actually got this other property over there."
Yeah.
So like little things like that. People got to be very careful how they communicate with people and understand exactly the seller has to be taken into consideration, not just reach out to Chris or Jesse or Shane or whoever that may look like and say, how much are we making on this deal? Well, let's figure out the seller situation first before we communicate about that. And as Jesse and we just talked about this on our last podcast, and how this lady Bert over in Alaska, she's going through a tough time. She lost a lot of her siblings, husband, daughter, sister, all within a year. And I kid you not, and she was going through an auction. She lost half her income from her husband. And we had how many days? 4 or 5 days to stop this auction. And I kid you not, we hopped on the phone. I want to say it's about 20, 25, if not 30 minutes. And actually, no, it was 45 minutes. I remember
It was
now.
45 minutes.
It was 45 minutes on a call trying to figure out her situation. Now, mind you, this is how I know I'm with the right people. I know I'm with the right people. I was on the phone with myself, Colin, other business partner, and Jesse. And we had a conversation, understanding exactly what happened, hearing her, the way she just communicated, and not just communicating, telling exactly how she got in this position. We don't want no one to be in that position, but I kid you not, within those 45 minutes, I kid you not, people, I think that call is probably recorded. I can't remember if it's recorded or not, but not one time we didn't even know where the property was located.
No, you shouldn't.
Dude, we did, yeah.
We have
We
no
literally
idea.
spent 45 minutes just asking her about her situation and getting a full understanding of it. And during that conversation, we're like, all right, we're going to call this person. We're going to call this person. Who's your lender? Where's the
Also,
point of contact?
your
Which
address?
attorney is involved?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And then
We
we
had no
we
idea.
told her how we could help, and then said, hey, I don't know if this is a good fit for you, but if it is, this is how we could proceed. Talking about a sub 2.
Yeah.
And right before we got off the call, like Chris said, like we're on the phone call for 45 minutes.
We didn't even have that.
And she was like, yes, send a contract. And we're like, okay, cool. And then we're getting ready to hang up. And I kid you not. And it was like, whoa.
What's
Wait
that?
a minute. Can I get the address from you real quick?
Yeah, that was, it
Didn't even have the address.
we didn't have it at all.
That's really cool. That's like, I'm tearing up over here thinking like, that's really cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
you
that's
guys-
and the caveat of it, she's been a realtor for over 20 years, actually. She's a realtor. She could have easily listed this property herself,
Yeah.
but didn't do so.
Yeah.
But
It's a great point, because what's not important, how many bedrooms there's in the house, how many bathrooms. per feet? When was the house? None of that really matters. Right? It's the pain that she's going through. That's what's important. How do we
Yeah.
fix?
Absolutely. Like
That's
things
a
like that.
fantastic point. We didn't know.
100%,
Yeah,
Shane.
we
100%.
didn't know any of the condition. Didn't know the address. Didn't know where
We
it
didn't know
was. Didn't know
nothing.
nothing. We're just like, all right, dude, let's help you. And then it was 4 days before it went to auction, and that included a weekend.
Yep.
And Chris spent 20 hours trying to get that thing stopped because the lenders were being silly gooses. But yeah, the first time we saw it was like a week later. When I went and walked through the property. But yeah, that's what it's all about. It's super, super neat.
Absolutely. And Sylvia, I'm sorry. I know you mentioned that question a couple of times. So no referral fee to the loan officer. No. So yes, there is going to be a fee, but more so like sometimes loan officers, it's not like a significant amount, like a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 fee or anything. Sometimes within their license, they only can receive like a $395 one or a $500. It all depends on the specific state as well. But everyone, we will make sure everyone gets paid. No offense or buts about it. Like Jesse stated earlier, we literally just had a conversation about some of the legalese and verbiages we got to use in specific states, and even Pennsylvania is a perfect example. Actually, Pennsylvania last year they was in the middle of trying to debate if, as far as banning wholesalers or specifically you only can wholesale one deal a year. So one title company, they don't do it no more. They don't. Let me rephrase this. They don't accept assignments. But as a transaction coordinator, I hopped on the phone with his name is Lamar. He PV settlement services over in Pennsylvania. He technically does do assignments, but we changed the verbiage. We call it a management fee. We may call it a consultant fee. We may call it a servicing fee. But if it's assignments, they will not touch it. So little things like that. You got to be creative. It comes back to the creative financing. When people hire us as TCs and are just work JV with any one of us, myself, Shane, or Jesse, we have the knowledge to get the deal to the finish line. So when somebody tells us, "Oh, you can't do an assignment," okay, no problem. I guarantee we all get our money and get the deal to the finish line. There's ways to work around it. We just did a double close. That one, that's what I was on. Cocoa, Florida. That's the one that's Cocoa, Florida. We just did a double close in Cocoa, Florida. The seller and the agent specifically said, "I don't want no assignments on that." No problem. We made 15 grand. We made it. So we did a double close. We brought transactional funding to close the deal, got $15,000. So there's always ways around it. As long as you have the right paperwork, verbiage, and all that good stuff. It's not like we're going up, like we're being unethical. It's just everything we're doing is legal, but a lot of people don't have the knowledge to actually facilitate that stuff.
Just you think about it just a little different.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I hope that answered some of your questions, Julian. Jillian.
No,
Is it Jillian or Julian?
Jillian.
Jillian.
Julian is my male counterpart. Yeah, it's like a Latin counterpart. But I go by both because I've heard both. It's all good.
Amazing. And Sylvia, I hope I answered your question on that specifically as well. But everyone gets paid, whatever that dollar amount is. Everyone will get paid. No offense about that. We always want to make sure everyone's taken care of.
So Toya's got their hand up.
I don't see it. I think she put her hand back. Oh, there she is.
No.
It's a quick question for you. I'm brand new to real estate, and what I've been doing is just buying properties off of Facebook Marketplace as fixer-uppers and fixing them up myself. But I really want to get into real estate, doing wholesaling and all that. Where should I start?
You want me to answer this, or you want to answer it, Jesse?
Yeah, no, go for it, brother. Yeah.
So that's a loaded question, right? Because Toya, we don't know your situation. We don't know if you like cold calling. We don't know your situation. We don't know if you just like to be behind the scenes. Are you an integrator? Are you a visionary? What markets do you like? It all depends on you. And I have a lot of areas I love to wholesale. I would wholesale in Florida every day if I can, right?
I don't know anything about wholesaling, so that's what I'm trying to find out, because now I don't have that much cash left from the properties I already bought and fixed up myself. And what I did, I just rented them out. But now, I want to take it a step further so I can make money.
Oh, I
So
like
let's
that.
make money. What's stopping you?
But my question is, where do I start? How do I get into it, to start?
So I think what Chris is getting at
Right.
is understanding a little bit more about what it is that you want to do. And it doesn't necessarily, when he asked that, it doesn't mean that you have to know about real estate to understand that. Let me ask you, do you like talking with people? Are you a people person? Do you love being on the phones?
No, I'm not that
No.
person.
Okay, you're like, get me the hell out of there. I don't want to be
I'm
anywhere near anybody.
the type of person I can find deals all day long. As far as I find all my deals, all the deals that I ever found was on Facebook Marketplace.
And how did you have somebody else reach out to them? Did you reach out to them? What was that process?
I reach out to them.
Okay. And that's something you're comfortable with?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll call, but you'll be on the phones. Okay. Now you gotta, I'm not nitpicking here. I just want to get some clarity so I can
Mhm.
better understand. You don't want to be on the phones. You don't want to call people, but you're calling the people on your deals and you're fine with that. Like, help me understand where that line is
Right.
between.
I can negotiate my own deal because I know what I want to pay for it, and that
Mhm.
sort of thing, but I guess other people, because I'm so soft when it comes to people, if they have a sad story, I fall for it and that kind of stuff. So,
Mm,
that's just not me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if I had to work a deal for myself, I know how to, tell them what I want to pay and that kind of stuff. But
Uh-huh.
by the same token, again, I used all my own money to finance, the properties that I bought because they were fixer uppers. But now that I don't have that cash, and
Mhm.
I don't know a whole lot about private money lenders. I don't,
Mhm.
so how do I find out all of that information as to how does that go, if I was going into that route?
What if you could make a lot of money and only do what you're doing right now and not
I would,
literally not know anything else? You don't have to know anything about contracts. You don't even have to have contracts. You don't have to
okay,
have money. You don't even have to know anybody that has money. What if you could do exactly what you're doing now and make a lot of money?
I would love it.
You would love that. Well, cool.
I-
Well, that's what Chris, myself, and Shane have been talking about, is JVing with other people, squatting up and reaching out and saying, hey guys, listen, I just want to find the leads and I'll negotiate it, but that's all I want to do.
Mhm.
And guess what, Toya? I love talking to people. That's all I want to do.
Okay.
And so when it comes to building relationships, that's my superpower.
Right.
I love making friends. And
I mean,
so
'cause
consequently, I've
if-
got access to a lot of different resources, including
Mhm.
buyers, including money, including contracts, as does Shane and Cindy and Chris. So this is where you could, there's no business that's making a lot of money that
Right.
doesn't have a good lead gen. You know how desired somebody like you is for any kind of a business? Oh my gosh. Toya, if that's like your bread and butter and you're like, dude, I'm just a lead gen magnet. That's all I want to do. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do any
Yeah.
paperwork.
I
I just
mean,
want to have
like, what
first
I do-
dibs of,
I do all the research. Like I get the address, then I go on PopStream. I look up the comps and everything, and
Oh
that's
my
how I
gosh.
go about negotiating with them about how much I want to pay.
Toya, I think we just became best friends. I think we should go do some karate in the garage or something, man. You're on my Christmas list.
Well, I mean, I just want to learn.
I think that's the
and
best
this
way
is
to do
stuff
it.
That
Here's,
I taught myself this, thus far, but
Mhm.
I really want to learn more.
Okay, can I give you some action steps to start taking tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay, cool. What market are you doing this in right now?
Well, I have been doing Louisiana, but I live in California, but I'm originally from Louisiana.
Okay. Do you want to continue doing that in Louisiana?
No, I can do anywhere.
Okay, well, the great thing about this is it's up to you.
Oh,
There's
I
no
can
wrong
do
answer here.
anywhere. I mean, I know that I can work deals. That's not a problem. It's just, I know what the property is worth.
Mhm.
And which I don't have a number to call the people. What I've been doing on Facebook Marketplace, I'll, write them, it's available, give me, let me know, I could call you or what have you. But as far as me, I don't have a phone number. On Prop Street, it gives me the address. So if I can't get in touch with like sometimes I ride around and I find properties, empty properties, and then I'll send the people a message, because they'll have the number, their address on that property, and I'll wait for them to, get back at me. Or sometimes I'll go to the assessor's office and I get the information I need.
Girl, I need like 100 of you. Oh my gosh. Can we
But
be
I'm the
best friends?
person. I'm to the point, I'm not happy with my job and I want to do something different.
I think that you should start right there. You're not happy with your job, right? So you
No.
don't have to say this out loud, but whatever dollar amount that you're making per year,
Mhm.
do you know, again, whatever dollar amount you're making per year, you can make that per month.
No, I don't think so. I mean, well, I make $100,000.
And that's where you got to change your mindset. The wording right there.
Mhm.
Because I can tell you transparently, I was making $72,000 a year when I was in the hospitality restaurant industry. Give or take 2,000 or 3,000, depending on if I had a good year or not. But but imagine receiving a check of that amount.
In a month.
Just imagine receiving one check of that amount every month. Just imagine, right? That's a game changer. Now you're happy. You can get up when you feel like it. You're not punching in and out.
Right.
You don't have to go by your. I'm not gonna say anywhere. I'm not for sure. I'm gonna keep it PG. but more so, you can really start building a business when you start seeing those kind of checks, right? And I'm just using an example because that's literally what happened to me. I was literally making $72,000 a year. Then I really start receiving checks, like around that, and I'm like, it's a game changer. This is doable. So if you have the mindset that this can't happen, it's not going to happen. There's a lot of people that talk. We know, Jesse and I know that we communicate on a weekly or daily basis that making $100,000 a year. I mean, not a year and also a month. I can name about 3 different people right now that's blowing 6-7 figures a month, and they're loving it. They can travel when they want. They can get up and go when they want. They don't have to clock in. They love their job. And we need Toyota to do the same thing.
Okay.
So let's start there.
Yep.
So do what you're doing right now. And then when you have something that's like, oh my gosh, I got a deal. What do I do with this? Guess what? You reach out to Shane, you reach out to Cindy, reach out to Chris, reach out to myself. Say, guys, I have no idea what to do with my hands. You guys ever seen Talladega Nights? He's getting interviewed. He's on TV and he starts raising his hands like, the car, it ran good. It ran good. And then they like put his hands down. And then he's like over here, like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like we've all been there. Everybody like starts somewhere, right? So just when you get that seller, just get into Shane and Cindy's group or just reach out to one of us individually and say, guys, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. What do we do? What's the next step? And then guess what? We're going to walk you through that next step. We're going to educate you so you learn it. But at the same time, you're still focused on that one thing that's making you money. And it's the thing that you are good at. And it's the thing that you are doing right now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then guess what? As you start, like Chris said, as you start collecting these checks, as you start making money, that's when you bring somebody else into your business to start doing what you're doing. And then now you've got 40 hours a week available to do some higher end stuff, to do some CEO stuff.
Yep.
You're going to start building another part of your business. And that's how you start growing.
Okay.
But the easiest and fastest way to build your business is to identify what it is that you are good at. What's that one thing that you can focus on?
Okay.
So like we were talking about before, like I'm a closer. I love talking with people. I love negotiating. I love being on the phones. Like what you're doing, like get me out of here. And that's what would make us such an amazing dynamic duo. And it's the same thing for a lot of people. A lot of people, when you're creating partnerships and finding people to work with, you don't want to find people that are similar to you.
Right.
Like it wouldn't make sense for me to build a company just with a whole bunch of closers because I'm not going to have anybody to work the systems and to find the deals and to do the underwriting and the paperwork and all the stuff that I don't want to do. You know, that doesn't make any sense. So you want to find somebody that's kind of your yin to your yang. But I think this is a great way for you to start building your business while you're focusing on something that you're just naturally good at and passionate about. And you've got a hunger and a drive for. It's not something you have to spend hours upon hours and learn this, learn a brand new skill that you're not really gun ho on learning. You know,
Right.
you're at a job you don't like already. We don't want to put you in a position where you get home from work and you're like, man, I got to force myself to sit down and do this. And I don't want to, and I'm tired, and the kids, and we have blah, 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 dinner, right? Like you can just come home and just already start doing what you're already doing and you're
Right.
already so good at. And
Right.
then when you have something tangible, when you have something that could be something, reach out. It's the easiest thing in the world. Just reach out. Like, guys, no idea what to do with my hands right now. What's the next step?
Okay.
Also,
Somebody's
Toya,
going to feel you
my
in and
number-
show
Yeah,
you
Toya,
in
I don't
what
want-
that next step is.
It's Toya, I don't want to be having the same conversation in 6 months. Just throwing that out there.
That's right.
No, I mean, I guess I would call somebody else, you know, like when I find the deal or what have you. Like right now, this one guy, he has 3 properties. But for some reason, he hasn't responded back to me. But I mean, they worth a whole lot more than what he wants. So I'm just hoping that he'll respond back to me. Don't know.
The power's in the follow-up.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The best deals comes from the follow-up. You'd be shocked. You check back a month later, oh, I just got under contract for somebody else. That's not a good feeling. It has
Right.
happened to me. So I changed
Well,
that
I've
instantly.
tried to contact him twice and I haven't heard back from him. So, but I probably have to go to the assessors and get his address or something. Because
Do a
like
door
I said,
knock. I'm
Or
not
just
gonna
send him a
It's in
pizza.
Mississippi.
Send a pizza to his house with a handwritten note.
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
One way to do it, but more so, 100% Toya. Just, I think you're going in the right. Actually, I know you're going in the right direction. It's just more so if you change those couple things that you're thinking right now, I know for a fact you can change your entire family's, not just your life, but literally your family life and all that good stuff. Because literally, that's literally what Jesse and I. That's the main reason we became business partners, because our alignment was there. We want to change our family's tree. We want to be the first to do this, and this, and more so. We have an end goal, not just an end goal, but an overall objective. And under that objective, we have a bunch of goals, and on those goals, we have a bunch of tasks. And so it's not going to be easy, but it will get easy. It's going to be obstacles, but definitely will be things that you thought was very difficult to handle. Realize it actually comes to you at second nature. And I guarantee in probably 6 months, Toya gonna come back. Chris, I'm making $40,000 a month. And that's amazing, right? It's definitely doable. Or you may, whether if it's not 40,000, you may be making $5,000 a month. Whatever that looks like for your success, we're going to be behind you 100%. That's all I'm guaranteeing. JV, work with these people in this group, others that's around you. I know Shane and Cindy, they're phenomenal individuals. We're working with them. We wouldn't be working with them if they wasn't phenomenal individuals. And it just, the people that we work with, we want to see them grow, be successful, and not just that, we look for people to push us. We definitely look for that as well. So I don't want you to think that we're being hard on you or anything. We really want you to we have to push you, because if we don't, you're going to be in the same situation, talking about the same thing 6 months, a year, 3 years.
No,
Still
I
hate
don't
my
want.
job, got to clock on it, and I got to do. No, we don't want that to happen, because I used to be that guy. I used to be
Okay.
that guy working at, literally going into the restaurant, because I was a GM for literally 7 years and a director of operation. At my time, I thought $72,000. I thought I was doing it. I thought this was it. This is the dream. I'm living life. And then seeing all these other people in real estate making like $200,000 a year. I'm like, okay, well, damn, what the hell I'm doing wrong?
Right.
So, and that wasn't the American dream for me.
Right.
I thought I was living it, but reality, when I went into real estate, which I was kind of forced into real estate during COVID, but more so, I'm very thankful, very humble to be in this real estate industry,
Right.
and be surrounded. I actually have business partners, Colin and also Jesse, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for them. So I'm very humble enough and thankful and grateful just to be in the vicinity of the right people.
Right. Right.
My board of advisors.
And Toya, just know that since you already know how to go out and talk to people and find a deal and structure a deal, you have is priceless.
Yep.
You have it. You just lean on us to finish it.
Okay.
You're amazing.
Yep.
It's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's all that who, not how. It goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. You don't have to, everybody thinks they know. They have to know how to do things, and they have to be the one to do it all.
Right.
That's the slowest and most idiotic way to grow a business. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to know how to do it. All you have to know is the who that does. And what's cool about this whole thing, I mean, it's really just a big mindset thing, right? Like, it's like to wrap your head around. And I totally get it, because Chris and I grew up the same way.
Yep.
Not necessarily the same way. I mean, he grew up in the Bronx. I grew up in Idaho. But you know what I mean? Like, just in terms of like mindset and how we thought about money and how we thought about finances and what making a good living actually was. So there's the reason I'm bringing this up is just to go along with what Chris was saying, is that he's sharing this because him and I, like, we've been there.
Yeah.
Like, we've made, like, it's a huge transformation. You know, you have to go from becoming this person that you are to this person that you're capable of becoming. And over here is this person that's running a multi-billion-dollar real estate business and has a gigantic portfolio and is helping all of these people. Don't forget, hundreds of dollars helps hundreds of people. Thousands of dollars helps thousands of people. Millions of dollars helps millions of people. And there's this transition that we have to go through to become this person that we're capable of becoming. And a lot of it starts right here with what you perceive of yourself, with how you perceive money, how you perceive value. Really just how you perceive your entire thing. And we're practitioners
Jesse,
of this.
What did Pace tell us when we were there? About
Oh my gosh. Let me get
thinking.
out my notes real quick. This is like, I've got this written in big black bold letters. It was the first thing I wrote. It unlocked a key in my mind. It was so profound. It was almost like Moses coming down with the 10 Commandments. Like, this was how profound it was for me. But coincidentally enough, it's also something you'd see on a bumper sticker. But it was interesting hearing it, because when Chris and I were attending this mastermind together, sitting in a room with people of a higher caliber like that, like, every single thing that is said is not just taken with a grain of salt. And so what I'm about to share with you was shared with me in that room. And like I said, it's not, you'd probably see it on a bumper sticker, but just hearing it in that context from that person in that room at that point in my life, it really just, it unlocked a key in my mind. And let me share that with you real quick. He said, it's not who you think you are that's holding you back. And then he paused. And as he said that and as he paused, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Jesse, who do you think you are? What are we getting at? And I'm starting to think, okay, you're a husband, you're a father, you're a friend, you're a neighbor. I think you're a generally good person. You try to help people. You want to retire your parents. You want to, do all these things. Take my family on vacations. I'm just kind of going over all these things of who I think I am, right? And as I come back to Pace's question, it's not who you think you are that's holding you back. I'm thinking about all this. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he continues. And he said, it's who you think you are not. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
I mean, I always knew that like 6 figures a month was a possibility. I mean, you hear it, especially just being around, in real estate and talking with the right people. But in my mind, I wasn't the type of person that could do that, at least not then. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the type of shit that's holding me back. That's the thought that's literally keeping me from doing it.
Yep.
And so we went crazy. And that's why we were talking about, like, what's your guys' buy box? What are you looking for? Dude, we're going to take down everything. I mean, motels, laundromats, whatever. I don't care. We're buying literally everything. And so kind of a lot of what we're talking about right now, I used to think that like a $50 million apartment complex was daunting. I was like, no, I'm not that guy. I need to like wholesale first. Right. But then it goes back to what we're talking about right now. Who, not how. You come across a $50 million apartment complex. I don't own a $50 million complex. Not yet. But because of the relationships that I have, I know the people that can help me get my feet into that. So if we found a deal that made sense that was 50 million, we could absolutely take that down. But the thought wouldn't have even crossed my mind had that not been presented to me, that idea of it's not who you think you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you are not.
Yep.
And this has been a phenomenal year. It's literally that exact same thought process. Why Chris and I, within the first 5 weeks of the brand new year, had $250,000 sitting in escrow. And we've only been business partners for 7 months.
7 months, guys.
Brand new business. So what I'm sharing with you, I know that it's surreal sometimes to hear it from somebody who's like in a different chapter than you are. They're like, yeah, you guys did it, but you guys don't know what it's like for in my circumstance, right? Because I thought the same thing. Like I think of other people who are successful. Like guys, 80 to 90% of millionaires are self-made.
Yeah.
Well, odds are all the things that we have going on in our life. I mean, try trying to build a real estate business living in Alaska. That sucks. There's no community. There's nothing here, man. It's all virtual.
there.
You know how hard it is building relationships with people when you live on Mars, basically. So the point that I'm getting at, though, Toya, to make a long story long again, is just that we've been where you are.
Yeah.
That we're not just giving you advice based on things that we've heard. Chris and I are practitioners of this. We understand the possibilities. We're making that transformation, and you are too. Just by being here, you're 1% better than you were yesterday.
Right.
So just know that everything Chris and Shane and Cindy and everything you're seeing and the things we're talking about in this Zoom, it's possible. And not only is it possible, you're more than capable of accomplishing it whenever you want.
And when you start feeling fear or some kind of nerves, push through it. Those good things.
Okay.
Those are good fears, good nerves. You need those. If you don't have that, you're doing something wrong.
I know.
100%. Robert G. Allen. I'm not for sure if you know who he is, but I
No.
won't ever forget what he stated. But
And that's the power of team, right? I mean,
Yep.
So Chris is feeling nervous about something. He has a Jesse to back him up and say, whoa, no,
Right.
you're almost there. You got 90%. Just push through that last piece. You don't have that accountability. Sometimes you get to that end point, you just go,
Right.
and so, count on. We'll help you.
Okay.
we mean
Well,
that, Toya. We want you to really take that in and understand that, and
Oh,
not just
trust
Toya.
me, I'm gonna be calling.
yeah,
I have questions and everything.
Everyone here, we're here for everyone. We truly want to see the best out of everyone and kind of push you to your limits, whatever that may look like specifically, and more so, again, as I was stating, more so Robert G. Allen, I won't ever forget what he stated. How much money are you really losing being fearful on a daily? Like, think about it. How much money are you really losing? You get those nerves. You just want to, nope, I'm going to go back to my comfortable state. I'm going to go back to work my 9 to 5.
Right.
But there's probably millions and millions of dollars that you could be making.
Right.
Could I went back to the restaurant? 1,000,000%. I know I was comfortable. I was locked in. I knew how to do that with my eyes closed on a daily basis.
Right.
I was nervous as shit. Oh, damn, I'm sorry, Shay. I told you I wasn't going to curse tonight.
But I'm just
I was
here in
nervous.
California, and it's so expensive.
California is a great. Listen here, California is a great. I just told you, I made $24,000 in California in one deal. They made $15,000 in the next 3 weeks. It's definitely money to be made everywhere. California is expensive. I live in New York. That's expensive.
Yeah.
Hell, transparently, Pennsylvania tax is expensive as shit. And I just paid $78,000 in the closing costs, which I thought New York was bad, but this property was $200,000, but the taxes alone was literally $78,000. They want to add in a school tax. They want to add a child credit tax. Whatever. I'm just throwing it out there, but any taxes it was in there. It's just more so things add up. But long story short, all 50 states, there's a lot of money to be made.
Right.
Are there bigger
but I
spreads?
just feel like
Yes.
in here, the rent I'm paying, I should be having a mortgage here versus paying rent.
Okay, I understand. So let's change that. Let's change that. 6 months, you may be having a tenant in their place, paying that for you. You may be have another property. It's so many different ways you can work it out.
Okay.
And you maybe wrap it, as we stated earlier. You maybe wrap it in someone else. But no, but yeah, I know we kind of took up a lot of time today, more so it's going on 2.5 hours. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Shane and Cindy. We're always welcome to come back, whatever that may look like for you guys. But long story short, if you really want to be successful, not just Toya, but everyone that's listening, get around the right people. JV, you don't have to know everything. We build our entire business off of who, not how. There's a point in time I didn't know how to do paperwork. There's a point in time I didn't know anything related to multifamily.
I still don't know how to do paperwork, Chris.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
There are people in here filling out contracts that, yeah, I'm like, nope, never done a contract. No, that's why I got Chris. That's a perfect example right there, man.
Yeah, no, and perfect. And also underwriting. Do Jesse know how, and I know how to do underwriting 100%. But is this something that we want to do on a daily basis? No, not at all. We have our business partner, Colin. He loves it. Or Shane. Shane can actually do underwriting. Things like that. It's just, you really got to understand, you don't have to know everything. We would never have a lending division of our 3rdMindREI company. That's why you see this I right here. This is not because of anything else, but 3rdMindREI, this is literally our logo. And 3rdMindREI specifically, we have so much different things from acquisitions, dispositions, transaction coordinating, lending, and all aspects. And Gator, again, we're not a private money lender, but we can, if you were looking for loan products such as like short terms, commercial loans, bridge loans, we have a lot of different things going on. And this is not by Jesse and Chris knowing every single thing. Just literally by Jesse and Chris knowing the right individuals, connecting the dots. So essentially, we have our own loan officer within our lending division. So that's pretty phenomenal, right?
Yes.
And I think
is
what
awesome.
Shane and Sydney is building right now in this community I think that's amazing. A lot of people want to do that, spend the time out of their day to build this community and what they're trying to do, and help people out. They're doing nothing but providing value to you guys. And a lot of people don't understand, like, okay, actually people come up to me and Jesse, hey Chris, Jesse, how much can we make off this deal? I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? What is going on with the situation? Like, let's run this back a little bit. And you'd be surprised how many people really reach out to say, how much are we going to make on this deal? Versus no, nothing about the background, the situation, all that good stuff. And usually transparently, the best deals come from when you actually facilitate the transaction, help the seller first. And I think you guys are in the right community. I think what Shane and I know what Shane and Cindy is building in this community. You guys are in the right place. And feel free to reach out to any one of us. We're all here to help. You can reach out to us on any of our socials. I know Cindy and Shane have this within their group, and they're doing amazing things. I believe who's coming on next week, guys? Shane and Cindy. Cindy's probably on a golf course, and she be giving me shit about a lot of stuff. But
I'm here.
okay.
I'm here. I'm here. It was funny. I had my picture on earlier and then my screen froze. So, and I had my kids, but it's bedtime. But
See,
anyways,
guys, that's a perfect example of what not to do. She had 3 different excuses right there. Never provide excuses in the real estate.
well, I'm monitoring the Facebook. I'm not even sure on next week, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
I
Never
cannot
mind.
remember. I think we got to go to the event. Hold on, I can tell you now. Events. Let's see. Next week is, what's the date next week? March 2nd?
Probably no. I think it's
Yes. We're in
Yes,
March.
it's the king of mobile home parks. Mitchell Armstrong will be here.
Mitchell. Oh my gosh.
Mitchell,
Yes.
yes.
That's a perfect
good
example,
thing.
guys. We
Yes.
Jesse and I, we don't touch mobile home parks. We don't know where to start, but we know who. Mitchell. Or there we go. And actually, I think
Mitchell
actually
and I
Shane and Sydney is actually building like an entire operation with mobile home parks. Is that correct?
Yeah, we got
Yep.
300
That is
contracts.
Look at that. Look at that. That's phenomenal. I love that. But yeah, guys, I know we took up a lot of time. I'm sorry. You guys probably have.
I know Jillian still she's had a question for a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Oh,
no, all good.
I'm
I
sorry.
just raised my hand. Honestly, this is just for Toya. Like, I think you're so awesome. Like, you're like, this is coming from a newbie, and I wanted you to hear it because it came from humans that have been doing it, but I'm someone who's like learning it, and I'm only a month in, and this is tearing me up just thinking, but like, you're just a natural. You're just like, oh, yeah, I do this, and then I go do that, and then I buy that. And I'm like, I think it's so cool.
It's just about, brainstorming. And I could blow everybody mind here. I bought a house for $3,200
Mm.
Oh,
off of Craigslist.
Yeah.
I gotta
There
start
you
perusing
go. Great
Craigslist
job.
more.
Right.
You
Change
are
my marketing
honestly
now.
an inspiration. You're honestly an inspiration when people start, like, even start getting into real estate investing, like, oh, I'm getting into it. It's like so cerebral and it's so all these things, and you're just doing it, and it's so cool. You're for sure an
I think I
inspiration.
did it the right way, but I did it.
You
I mean, I
gonna-
It's all-
took money out. I just took money out of my 401k and I said, this is what I want to start doing. And I just started doing it.
There you go. There you go.
You're awesome. I
Amazing.
hope you saved my number from your DM.
I'm going to get it in just a second. Yes. So I'll
we'll be
be
following up with
calling-
the two of you.
I'll call everybody because I'll have more questions.
No worries. Feel free to reach
Thank
out
you so
anytime.
kindly. I
Absolutely.
enjoyed this whole seminar today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesse and Chris and
Gone
Jesse.
well
are
over
back on
2
Saturday.
hours. I appreciate you guys' time. This wasn't planned to be here tonight. You guys are very flexible. You're always dropping gems of knowledge and inspiration.
Thank you.
You guys,
Sorry, I'm interrupting Shane. I always do that. Trying to say that,
we were having
I-
a grown woman here,
I know. I wanted to say that you guys do your Facebook Live on that's what I'm saying. You're back on
Yes.
Saturday. You do your Facebook Live on our.
Yep, we are
page.
back on Saturday. That is correct.
Yes.
Saturday at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. All things creative finance, and we may have a special guest. Just throwing it out there. Stay tuned. So yeah, we guys, if you don't know, we literally stream on our personal Facebooks, YouTubes, and all that good stuff. And as Cindy said, we do go live in this specific group as well. Any questions or concerns or anything like that, just throw it in the chat. When we live, we answer right then and there. Sometimes, if it gets to a point where we need to bring you on stage, we'll bring you on stage. And again, it's all about getting uncomfortable, right?
and we started this off just kind of as a weekly thing, but we're really seeing that we're going to have to add at least one more night a week, just so we have more opportunity to bring people up on stage and say, hey, what's your pain this week? Let's work through it. And then keep Thursdays for education and training, but we'll have to
Absolutely.
work that out. I think that's where we're headed.
Absolutely. This was great. This is great. Again, I
Appreciate it.
thank
Good to
you
see you
again.
guys again.
Great to see you guys. Thank you guys. We really appreciate you more than you guys know. And yeah, guys, just feel free to reach out anytime. We really mean that. Like, don't be hesitant or anything like that. Just blow us up and just let
Chris,
us
you
know.
put your contact information out there. I threw my contact information in the chat. If
I
you guys
think
haven't seen it,
I
I'd
don't
love to
think
connect with you. Feel
anyone's-
free.
No, I'm just saying. I was saying. I
Yeah,
don't
you
think
do it while I
anyone's-
monologue. You got about 45 minutes. Throw your stuff in there, Chris.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, appreciate you guys. We want to connect with you. Please save our information, reach out, connect with us. We'd love to see how we can all work together and make money together. And Cindy and Shane, thank you sincerely. Chris and I can't express our gratitude for you guys, your guys' friendship. It means so much to us. I mean, we look up to you guys. You guys are the people that we want to be surrounded with as we are continuing to grow. And you guys do that. So thank you. Really appreciate and love you guys.
And Cindy's pushing me to be a little uncomfortable and saying, I got to book my trip in June and do a half marathon with y'all. So
I'm just going to pre-warn you, just be careful. You should have booked that trip 3 years ago.
oh yeah,
I'm just throwing that out there. It's pretty costly, but
All right, all right.
I don't care how much money I can potentially make. Those are expensive tickets. But no, yes, 100% Shane. We'd love to see you down there in June. That'd be phenomenal.
All right.
I don't know
Up
if I'm
here.
doing.
Wait.
I don't know if I'm doing
We'll
it
figure
yet.
it out.
I'm gonna go, but the marathon, I need to get back in the gym.
Chris and I are going to walk it.
Yeah,
We'll
I get
probably
moped
door
and
knock a
meet you
couple
there, but-
houses along the path.
But I'll definitely be in the vicinity. But I don't know about the running part.
Well, thank
Okay,
you guys.
good to
Thank you
see
for
ya.
your time. I know we
Absolutely.
went 2.5 hours, so really appreciate everybody being here. Hopefully you got some value and we look forward to connecting with you.
Absolutely appreciate you
Yeah.
guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a great night, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank y'all so much. Good night.